This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Jones play action, drops to throw.
Got it.
Downfield. Tyler Warren. There he goes down the near sideline. 30. He's at the 20-yard line, then banged out of bounds at the Denver 18-yard line. And a gain of 41 yards. Jones goes out of the gun. Shotgun snap. Throws it right side. Caught Jonathan Taylor. Big run down the far sideline. 30. He's at the 20. Speed to burn. And Jonathan Taylor is ran out of bounds at the 11-yard line of Denver. Jones under center. Takes the snap. Trying to put the ball across the goal line. There's the signal. Finally, touchdown. Daniel Jones. Shotgun snap for the quarterback. Throws to wide open Jonathan Taylor. And he's going to walk in. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jones to Taylor. Gets out of one tackle in the backfield. Positive gain. He's at the 30, 35, 40. It's a foot race. 50, 40. Down the near sideline. He's at the 20, 15, and pushed out of bounds inside the red zone. Jonathan Taylor with a huge gallop. Denver leads by 2, 28-26. His first field goal try today. This one is up, has plenty of leg, and he missed it! He missed it! It hit off the right upright. He doinked it off the right upright, and the Colts still remain by only down 2 points.
All right.
This is a 45-yard try to win the game. No time left on the clock. Colts down by 2, 28-26. Sanchez to put it down. There's the snap. Kick is on its way. Headed for the uprights. And it is. It's good! A walk-off field goal. Spencer Schrader wins it for the Colts. Colts win 29-28. Ball game. I-N-D-Y.
A little bit overwhelming, but I think that goes to show just the passion of the guys and how much that team wins means to these guys. I'm just happy I could do my part. Feel very blessed to be here, be able to perform for my guys at the end of the day.
I'll tell you what, man, you want to talk about gritty, right? Gritty, tough, physical. And at the end, when we need it, one day at a time, though. One day at a time, we get it done. Hell of a team win.
Kicking the door, waving the 4-4.
I think that almost says it all, except that it doesn't. We're going to be talking about it all morning long. The Indianapolis Colts, 2-0. For the first time since 2009. Good morning, everyone, and welcome into the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Mark Dykton, I'm Jeff Rickard, and KB, don't stop us now. The Colts are on a roll. Even the referees are getting involved. Everybody wants to see the Colts do well. I like it. I'm here for it. They earned that win yesterday. They kept fighting back. They kept finding ways. Every time they needed to do something and make a play, they found a way to get it done.
Never apologize for gifts. What a game! One of the wilder finishes.
I
Certainly,
like that, Kevin. I heard that before.
I know. I feel like my mom's looking at me on Christmas, and I open up something from Grandma that I don't like, and she's staring at me back in the day. You do not. You say thank you, Shane Steichen. You say thank you right now for that gift. Just absolutely wild. And I know we'll talk about the finish quite often here, but I do want to make sure, give a major hat tip to Daniel Jones. I just thought outstanding yesterday again against a great defense. That opening drive, you go back to that opening drive, those pockets were muddy. They were not clean at all, and Daniel Jones hung in there and delivered strike after strike after strike, and we're talking about a quarterback through 2 weeks that has largely been on target, largely stayed away from turnover-worthy balls, if you will. And I thought yesterday, he took necessary shots down the field, and that was probably the biggest question we had entering the season. How dink and dunk, how horizontal of an offense would you have? And Daniel Jones has led a unit that has not lived in that area at all. So, again, I know today will revolve largely around the end. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned Daniel Jones early because could not be more impressed by him through 2 weeks, especially against that Denver defense.
And JB, he'll take it. As he said, you'll take a gift, but they just kept firing away. And Daniel Jones, as Kevin points out, has been on time. He's been on target, and he's leaning on those weapons, and those weapons are coming through right now.
Absolutely. Tyler Warren, I'm like, pencil that guy in for the Pro Bowl at this point, the way he's playing. He looks like a star out there, and we can certainly break down more of his game. And I think for me, to your point, Kevin, it's looking at Daniel Jones make some big-time throws with pressure in his face while getting hit, and not putting the ball in jeopardy, not turning it over. There was actually a couple of plays. He got sacked one time yesterday, Kevin. I was like, man, is he going to fumble right there? He didn't. And even then, again, you're avoiding some of those disastrous plays that can flip a game. Whereas The other team cannot. I mean, the Denver had that game. They're cruising until the overthrow from Bo Nix that kind of sparked that comeback late for the Colts. And so, again, big-time win. You don't apologize for how you won, but we'll certainly get into the luckiest man in Indianapolis today, which is Shane Steichen, because Lord have mercy. As great as a game as he called, as great as he's been as a play caller through the first 2 weeks, that last sequence I thought was downright asinine. I was thinking to myself, what are you doing? And you got a gift, and like you said, you don't apologize for it.
To that end, Kevin, let me ask you a question. Does Shane Steichen fully trust Daniel Jones right now based on what we saw, the final sequence of the game where it was run, run, run? You've got to get into field goal position. They were getting ready to settle for a 58-yarder and didn't try to make any kind of dynamic play. They didn't use Warren there in a creative way. They didn't do much of anything. Is that not fully trusting Daniel Jones, or what is that?
Yeah, I leaned over to Mike Chappell at one point, who sits next to me at Colts games, and I said to Chap, I go, this looks like Frank Reich with Carson Wentz at the end of the 21 season. Just like the lack of trust you have. And I guess to answer your question, it's a fair question because, again, I brought up Chap, but I don't think so. To answer it, I mean, he obviously trusts Daniel Jones to do a lot.
Subconsciously, maybe he doesn't trust him?
The field. I thought it was a coach that just was beyond anal about giving Denver time back. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, we'll play Steichen's rationale after the game. It made zero sense to me. I've listened to it now probably 5 or 6 times. I still don't understand the thought process there in being so content. I mean, he was literally content with the 58-yarder, and for a guy that had never kicked a field goal beyond 45. So it's just yesterday was a reminder of the fine line in the NFL for me. I mean, about how different the conversation is at 1-1 versus 2-0. And look, we're 2 weeks into the season, but again, we're doing a show on September 15th. I can't predict what the show's going to be on October 15th, November 15th, et cetera, et cetera. The Colts are in
Super Bowl.
The Colts are in as good of a situation as you can imagine through 2 weeks. Everyone's losing in the AFC. If you look at it right now, 5 of the teams are winless. We're going to have, Houston could be winless after tonight. The Colts are in such a great spot through 2 weeks, and so much of that comes down to leverage. It was leaping in 2003 with Simeon Rice and the infamous Monday Night Football comeback against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and yesterday it was leverage. I thought it was a great environment in there. I thought it was an entertaining game, and it probably is a topic we haven't discussed enough, but it is paramount to the Colts trying to play meaningful football again in the month of January. You have to win home games again. And I know that sounds very elementary, but the Colts haven't won enough home games under Steichen or since their last playoff appearance. If you look at it, they are several games under 500 at home since their last playoff appearance, and now here you are 2-0. To start the year at home. And your next 2 home games are going to be, you're probably going to be favored in both of them. I would assume Raiders on a 10 a.m. local time kickoff in a few weeks, Cardinals right after that, same exact time. You have to start controlling home field again. And it's been such an issue for this team. Again, not just under Steichen. I'd go back to the end of the Reich era as well. So that's just a little part of it as well. You start this season with, I think, tons of opportunities with the schedule. And here you are with the gift from the heavens yesterday, taking advantage of it.
Yeah, and we got to talk, too, about special teams, particularly Spencer Schrader. He just keeps kicking field goals. Colts keep giving him opportunities. I guess the small downside of that is a lot of field goals and maybe some stalled drives towards the end of the field, but they're getting points. He's consistently putting it through. He's been perfect so far. And Rigoberto Sanchez is just over there holding his helmet the entire time. There's nothing for him to do.
But you know what? I mean, that is not a bad situation to be in for these Colts. I believe Kevin was all over it with the record of the 10 straight drives start a season with points, NFL record for a team. And so anytime you do that, obviously you want to be able to say you won both of those games in those instances, which they have. It doesn't matter how you get it done. It was certainly one of the more bizarre finishes you'll ever see. But a win is a win is a win is a win.
Win is a win is a win is a win. And you say thank you, Kevin. We've learned that again. Your grandma is always right. say thank you.
I don't care if it's underwear. I don't care if it's socks. When you get the gift and you open it up, you say thank you.
This is how I knew I wasn't raised right.
Did Shane Steichen say thank you after the game?
He had to. I'm serious. I do wonder. We can get into that on the other side of the break. But I seriously do wonder, when the cameras aren't rolling, so the post-game speeches, so all those things, if he seriously kind of apologized to a degree to his team. I'm dead serious about that. Like, dude, what are you doing? You just trusted Daniel Jones on third down. You trusted him. Trust him again. But, again.
And I mean, Denver had millions of dudes in the box. It's not like Denver was all of a sudden saying, hey, we are fearful of, Warren or something in the passing game. Denver had 8, 9 guys in the box. I mean, they were just feasting against that run. Yeah. So what a wild, wild finish. And, thank the Lord for leverage.
All right, we're going to talk to Spencer Schrader himself coming up at 8 o'clock. And I'm guaranteeing you he did not see the leverage play because he's focused on that ball and watching it get down. But we'll get his thoughts on that. Kevin Harlan, who called the game on CBS yesterday, is going to join us a little bit later on in the show as well. We got lots to talk about, lots to tell you about. Kevin, a lot of college football to talk about, too. We'll get to that as we continue next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Happy Monday morning. It's another Victory Monday for the Indianapolis Colts, 2-0 for the first time since 2009, coming up with a crazy 29-28 win over the Denver Broncos. In the final few minutes, the Broncos doinked a field goal attempt that would have extended their lead. Then the Colts missed on a 58-yarder, but during that play, there was a leverage call called on the line of scrimmage against the Denver Broncos, 15-yard penalty. That resulted in a 45-yard game-winning field goal. On the day, Kevin, Daniel Jones, 316 yards and a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, 165 yards rushing. He had 27 touches on the day. They are not shy about feeding him the rock, are they?
No, not at all. That is a extremely high usage for Taylor. I think he's done a nice job also catching the ball out of the backfield, which I was definitely skeptical of entering the season. Had that big catch and run there. The 68-yard run, that easily could have been a tackle for loss. And he breaks that tackle in the backfield and rips it off there for 68. So huge days for Taylor and Tyler Warren as well in terms of how much they utilized those guys. Warren obviously had the big start to the game. And once again, the amount of respect he gets. Denver had Patrick Surtain defending him one-on-one at a couple of different moments. That is pretty telling and a big compliment to the rookie.
Meanwhile, James Boyd, the Colts go to 2-0 on the season. Did they escape the game without any significant injuries is the question.
That's always the question afterwards, but usually
I don't think
anyone
anyone left due to injury, right?
Yeah, but I reserved that for today. No one was talking about injuries after that game. We were all asking about the win and the play calls and things like that.
All right, so they are 2-0. They move on to the road now to take on the Tennessee Titans. That'll be next week in Nashville. And look, you love 2-0. Nobody's ever going to give it back. Nobody's going to apologize for that. But now it's time to start winning some divisional games and against a Tennessee team that looks gettable right now, Kevin.
Yeah, 0-2, Cam Ward, I think, was sacked another 5 times. I think Tennessee's also dealt with some injuries here early in the season. So great opportunity early in the season. We've talked about it with this schedule. 1 o'clock coming up down I-65 on Sunday.
All right, Houston Texans also in the division will play later on tonight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Houston trying to win their first game of the year. Tampa Bay's been playing well. They are 1-0. And speaking of that, Cam Ward, he was sacked 5 times yesterday. Did you see the escape and touchdown throw he threw across his body yesterday?
I did, yes. Some
wow.
Backyard football elements. I think that's the lone Titans highlight through 2 weeks.
That was it. Rams beat the Titans by a score of 33-19. In that football game. How'd the Bears do this weekend, Mark? I'm sorry, I was busy doing other things.
Oh, that was a great segue for you to do that. Yeah, they suck. They suck big time, and the refs also suck because there was a play right before halftime where a guy was falling out of he fell inbounds, caught the ball inbounds, and yet they somehow ruled that he was out of bounds and stopped the clock, and then the Lions took a 2-touchdown lead, and they never looked back after halftime, and they just blew out Ben Johnson. The F. Ben Johnson chants were loud and proud in Ford Field, which I was like, the guy got a promotion. You shouldn't really, hate on him for that. But, yeah, the Bears' defense stinks. They stink to high heaven, and I'm already disappointed.
Well, Mark, you can't let him just slide like that. You gotta, throw some jabs back.
I'll get it later.
The Colorado native, the Indy Sports Radio. Where were you at the game yesterday, Jeff?
I was entertaining about 2 dozen college cyclists and stuff like that. We were all watching the game.
That is the weakest excuse in the history of mankind.
Not to pile on, because Jeff clearly just went right at Mark and didn't even, hide at all.
Yes,
Mark,
this is a safe space. This studio is a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, I'm not sure if you're allowed to play the ref game when you give up 52 points and lose 52-21.
That is the least.
I respect your fandom. I do. You have unbelievable passion. I respect that a whole lot. But you give up 52 freaking points, you're not allowed to say anything about the refs.
No, that was just one of the many things that was annoying. But that entire game, Amon-Ra St. Brown just had his way with Tyreek Stevenson day in and day out. I'm like, are we? I thought we fired Matt Eberflus and all that. With Dennis Allen, let's get your defense together. 76 points in the last 5 quarters. They've been the get-right team early on in the NFL season. And I don't like that I paid hundreds of dollars for NFL Sunday Ticket to watch this pile of crap so far.
One other game of note we need to talk about also in the division. Jacksonville loses to Cincinnati 31-27, but Cincinnati may be the bigger loser in that one long term. Kevin, Joe Burrow goes down with a toe injury, and they're trying to figure out whether he's even going to need surgery on that or not. he could be out a significant period of time.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll go back to what I said in the opening segment. It is 2 weeks, obviously, but like the Colts right now are in great standing within the AFC here through the first couple weeks. Cincinnati's one of 2-3 undefeateds, not named the Colts in the AFC, and they could be looking at Jake Browning for, X amount of months. And that was an important result because they still beat Jacksonville, which obviously matters from an AFC South standpoint.
All right. Also yesterday, the playoffs are underway in the WNBA. The Indiana Fever playing up against all the NFL games, also playing the Atlanta Dream. They lose in Atlanta 80-68. Got off to a nice start, but then it couldn't continue that, and they're down 1-0 now in a best-of-3 matchup. Kelsey Mitchell did score 27. Odyssey Sims added 10 points. Aaliyah Boston 8 points and 12 rebounds. Just got to try to regroup and hope you can hold home court and then try to put it all in for an all-in Game 3.
Yeah, it's do or die, as we said growing up, at least when I played basketball. So I'll be there tomorrow night. It is the first home playoff game for the Fever, I believe, in 9 years. So it should be a very crazy environment and an environment that you would sign up for at the beginning of the season. If you say, hey, we got to win one game at home, stay alive, I'm sure a lot of players around the league would take that opportunity, and that's what they have in front of them.
All right, college football, looking back on what happened on Saturday, so we can talk about it real quick. Purdue did cover against USC. Kevin, you called it all week long. USC wins at 33-17, but because of a couple of crazy plays, including a defensive lineman pick 6 for USC. But I thought Purdue had some really nice moments in that football game.
Yeah, and we can move on from college football if you got.
We got to go there. We got to go there.
Shrader, I know we got Kevin Harlan.
I wasn't even getting to yours yet. I was just saying something nice about Purdue there.
3 red zone picks for Ryan Brown. Honestly, it could have been a lot different for Purdue. So they are a big old underdog here coming up on Saturday. And I also felt awful for fans. I mean, you imagine planning your whole day around that and 3-hour rain delay, and you're honoring the 25th anniversary of the Rose Bowl team. So Purdue. Purdue hung in there, but I'm like, oh boy,
I just see progress.
I get that you can play the moral victory game, but damn, it's just kind of humbling when an unranked team is a 3-touchdown favorite over you in your own building.
All right, Indiana, no problem as expected with Indiana State. The 22nd ranked Hoosiers win it easily 73-0, and now we get to the game. Number 16 Texas A&M, a winner over Notre Dame, 41-40, and really a game that could have gone either way. Really could have.
Yeah, it didn't, though. That's the problem.
Wow.
Mark, can you hit the dump button?
You're in off the top rope.
I got my finger on it.
You're in off the top rope.
Ain't no top rope. I mean, I'm telling you what Kevin's probably
Jeff,
thinking.
with earth-shattering news, the game could have gone either way. I'm
trying to be positive for you.
Right.
Here I am trying to have your back.
Can we
boom.
state more of the obvious here?
I'm thinking,
Any particular observations on that game?
Top 3 worst loss in Notre Dame fandom.
Ooh.
I was irate. I still am irate. Honestly, I might be more frustrated about week 1. Watching week 2, I'm like, wait, C.J. Carr couldn't throw the ball down the field in week 1? Did you see what happened in week 2? Jeremiah Love couldn't get the ball in week 1. Did you see what he did in helping Notre Dame create that lead? So that sucked.
All right, I'll move on. Good news for Ball State. They beat New Hampshire at
I'm
home.
immature as a fan. I should
34-29.
grow up. I should act like I'm 35 years old, but I can't.
Nah, that's fandom.
Butler over Hanover 16-7.
Let's talk more about
UND
Butler
beat
Hanover
Ashland,
next
33-26.
check down, and we don't need to talk about Notre Dame.
How did Ball
man.
State, New Hampshire
Definitely
go?
do
I
that.
have no idea. We can talk about that
Ball
then.
State won.
There you go.
Kevin was worried about Notre Dame there. We got it. What else can we tell you about? It was not a great weekend for the Reds, but fortunately for them.
Are they dead yet? Have you buried
because
them?
everybody around them wants to keep them in the race.
When you get swept, I don't think it would even classify as it's not a great weekend for the Reds. It was an awful weekend.
It's so wrong of me that I like to subtly set it up for Kevin to just lose it. Is that terrible of me?
I think you need to bury them like Kevin has.
I think that's just your style, Jeff. You like to try to sugarcoat things every now and then, and we gotta give you the real.
A's did beat the Reds 7-4 yesterday, completing the sweep. Good news is, though, San Francisco lost yesterday as well to the Dodgers, 10-2. The Mets also trying to help out. They did win, but they have not been playing well. They beat the Rangers yesterday by a score of 5-2. So if it doesn't go well at the end of this week, Kevin, then yes, I'll probably say that's it. It's all over. The Reds are done. But I'm not like you. I'm not ready to just pull the plug quite yet.
I'm still living in the you telling me that the game could have gone either way Saturday night.
You know what they tell us in sports writing, Kevin? That is what we call a cliche.
Is that wrong
you hear
that I did
after
that?
every single game. Oh, man. They were one play better than us tonight.
Can you imagine the
Iron sharpens iron.
You realize it was a subtle troll, though, don't you, James?
I don't know
You
how
do
many
realize
combos
that.
there are of this fan out there, but can you imagine the combo of a a Notre Dame Broncos fan from Saturday
Lord.
and Sunday?
Oh, tough. You had it was a tough weekend for you. It was. Good. Colts got a win, though. Ended it well. Something positive to write about.
My fandom relies with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That's why I'm wearing a Notre Dame basketball T-shirt here on this Monday morning. I can't wait.
Just flip the calendar.
You guys want to
Basketball
talk about
season
Notre Dame?
starts
I
today.
did see a lot of those tweets after that game.
I can't wait for Micah Shrewsbury and company. Come on, Ryan Owens. Come on, Irish.
Cubs did beat the Rays by a score of 4-3. Cardinals over the Brewers 3-2, and the Indians or the Gardens. I always say the Indians. The Guardians. I got to get used to that now that it's been 7 years or something like that.
Getting
I was gonna say,
2025.
you got to give
Yeah.
it the times, brother.
Chicago White Sox lost by a score of 3-2. There was a race yesterday in Bristol at the Speedway there, and Christopher Bell comes up with a winner. He just edged out Brad Keselowski. So anything else you guys want to throw in from the weekend?
No, I'm just fascinated by these sheets of paper. Jeff's got enough trees around here. I'm like, goodness gracious. I feel like I'm taking an exam.
Going on.
It was a lot going on this
A lot
weekend.
going on this past weekend.
You printed out War and Peace before you.
I was
this
looking at
morning.
it. He keeps turning them down. I'm like, what is going on? Am I getting homework assignments?
Stay tuned. You can go over to the house and help your boy.
No, I'm
Grant.
good on that. I'm
All
good. I've given him all the advice. Yeah, I've given him all the advice I can give him at this point. He's out on his own.
All right, coming up next, we'll go deep into the Colts' victory yesterday over the Denver Broncos. It's a Victory Monday here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. He was perfect. He was pure. It was 45 yards, and it was victory, and it was celebratory, and the Colts are 2-0 for the first time since 2009. We are here to talk about it, break it down, celebrate it, talk about what needs to get better, and all the things here on a Monday morning. Along with James Boyd and Kevin Bowen, I'm Jeff Rickard, Mark Dykton on the ones and twos, and KB 2-0. I know your grandma said, say thank you for the gift, say thank you for the gift, but the Colts did a lot of things right in that game as well. They just kept punching all day, I thought.
My mom told me to tell my grandma thank you, just to clear that up.
All right. Well,
no
good
matter
on
what
Mom,
gift
too.
you're opening up, you say thank you for that gift.
Being an adult now, I'm going to tell my kids, no, if somebody give you some garbage,
Max
please
Bowen,
let
you
them
say
know.
thank you for the gift here. You don't just move on to the
Max,
next item there.
Kids tell you the
He picked it, didn't he? Didn't he call it this week?
He did. More than one in there.
Kids give you the most honest reactions of anything.
Oh,
They'll
no.
be truthful. So if they see clothes, toss them over your shoulder, and they're like, "Where's the toys?"
Max Bowen, just come to Uncle JB. We'll get you right.
The
Very
parents
honest.
just apologize, like, sorry.
You know,
Like,
we
he's
don't
good.
raise liars around here.
But no, I thought the Colts did a lot of things right yesterday. We talked about the gift, but they kept moving the ball down the field. They kept putting themselves in position for good things to happen. Defensively, they made stops when they had to make stops. I thought, for the most part, they did a really nice job.
Well, I think the best part about the Colts right now is we're talking about a win, and yet there are probably 3 or 4 items that Shane Steichen, and he can probably point the finger at himself a little bit too, he can be very constructive with this week. I mean, the defense obviously had its issues yesterday. Xavier Howard looked old yesterday. The Colts had, I believe, that penalty number, I think it was 11, I believe was the final
One
number.
on Steichen.
I think that ties the most for the franchise in 6 years, and yet you still win the football game. Yes, 1 on Steichen, 2 on special teams. Right now, in general, I think special teams, the kick coverage, kick return is an issue. So, I mean, that's best case scenario for a franchise. You are talking about constructive things after a win, and there are very tangible things that the Colts need to work on. They're moving the ball at an extraordinarily great level right now. I mean, it's absurd how easily and consistently they're moving the football up and down the field. Yet, you want to finish off drives, of course, a lot better than they've had. And honestly, the guy, not outside of Warren probably, and a little bit of Taylor, no one on this football team has played better through 2 weeks than Daniel Jones. I mean, he has just been outstanding. And I'd honestly
argue he's been the best. Seriously.
I mean, when you consider like the back of the baseball card, yes, you could probably say he's been the best.
That good.
And to do it against that defense yesterday, again, I go back to that opening drive. Like if you watch the first throw under duress, guys at his feet down the field to Josh Downs on that crosser.
And he gets hit.
That was a pocket he didn't have to deal with in week 1.
Right.
He had to deal with that. Yeah, on the first throwing play of the game. He throws that out pattern to Downs later in that drive. Perfect ball, only where Josh Downs can catch it. Boom. And I think there was one more maybe to Pittman when he was rolling left. I think Benito might have been chasing him. It delivers it in stride to Michael Pittman Jr. Like, I was blown away, frankly, by Daniel Jones yesterday. And through 2 weeks, he's been outstanding.
And they even took a shot or two downfield. I know he was just a little bit long for A.D. Mitchell on one play in the second half, but I thought it was important to show the Denver Broncos, we can move this ball downfield if you're not too careful.
Yeah, we saw a connection there down the field to Alec Pierce, who, honestly, Kevin, he might be one of the best deep ball catchers in the league.
No, there's no might about it.
Yeah, he is.
And no, when I say might, I'm trying to think of like, okay, where does he rank officially? You know what I mean?
I mean, last year he led the league in yards per catch.
Yeah, the dude, he makes contested. That's probably the point I really want to make. It's not just the down the field catches; it's the contested down the field catches where, yes, he's got to step on a guy, but these are not just, all right, I'm wide open, let me just catch this ball and run and I'll be good. No, I mean, the one he had yesterday was a penalty and he just caught it anyway. So that was a big throw from Daniel Jones and also a big catch from Alec Pierce. But even then, just some of the situational stuff that Shane Steichen puts his offense in, I thought has been phenomenal. You look at the amount of times that he's throwing to guys who are on the move or they're open. And, for example, Tyler Warren, how many times he gotten the ball, and it's been on time and on target to the point where it's not necessarily that you're getting this explosive play because I threw it 20 yards through the air. It's, I'm going to hit you for 7 and let you do the rest. I mean, we saw Tyler Warren again yesterday catch it kind of in the flat, make two guys miss, get upfield. Hey, here's 5, 6, 7, 8 more yards because I'm just that good at making guys miss. But also, you don't have that opportunity if the ball isn't there when you need it to be there. So as far as being on time, on target, he has delivered. And I thought his best throw, his biggest throw of the day, was that 3rd and 6. You guys need to get across midfield to potentially win this game. And obviously, if you don't get that, you got to go for it. So to make that 3rd and 7 throw to Alec Pierce, who I believe he might have been draped. He was covered by Patrick Surtain, I believe, on that play, reigning Defensive Player of the Year. You throw a dime, tough catch, he makes the catch, and then your coach gets a little conservative there at the end, and you bailed out by the refs, by the Broncos, by the football gods themselves, and you don't apologize for winning. But, man, I that's why I thought Shane should have trusted Daniel to throw it at least one more time because, I mean, again, settling for a 60-yard field goal was just insane. But, hey, you won the game.
Yeah, I see hindsight is 20/20 because I saw a lot of people because I said, well, the Colts got bailed out of that 60-yard field goal. And people are like, oh, the refs owed us one. I'm like, no. The Broncos bailed you out with that penalty because settling for that 60-yard, I kept thinking I was sitting on my remote and kept rewinding because I kept seeing the same play over and over with Jonathan Taylor just running up and getting no yardage. I was like, what are we doing here? You're okay with 60-yarders with a full complement of timeouts and over a minute left? I didn't understand it whatsoever.
And for a guy who, again, you have called such a great game. He seems to always have had like the counter call, or you have so many options to go to, and your QB is cooking. Again, if you would have told me the Colts are 2-0 through the first 2 weeks of the season, before the season started, I would have thought, okay, that means Daniel Jones has played safe, conservative football. To a degree, that is true, but he has also played great football just in general. He's been a great quarterback through 2 weeks, throwing the ball down the field, throwing the ball a ton, and really putting the team in the position to win.
Mark, let's play Shane Steichen's explanation after the game on the level of conservativeness, I guess is probably the best way to put it, at the end of the game. He was asked several different times to explain his thought process. He eventually got there, and I walked away from it even more confused than I was previously.
Can you explain the decision at the end to, I guess, just settle for the 60-yard field goal and then the relief that you kind of got bailed out there?
Yeah, well, we were in field goal range there, felt good about it, and then on that 3rd down, obviously we went backwards there on that one. But, yeah, I mean, that's football sometimes. Obviously, yeah, we got the penalty that helped us out and found a way to win it there.
You're trying to make sure there's no clock left for Denver?
Yeah, because, I don't want to get into it, but yes. Yeah, I don't want any time left on that clock.
That's not what you want, right? I mean, what are you weighing there, I guess?
Yeah, I guess I'll get into it, whatever is the kickoff there at the end, you know what I mean? You don't want to let them get a return there. That's why. And then obviously you kick it out. I mean, obviously we saw a situation that happened already in the league with it.
Interesting. I find that he's thinking about all the things that possibly could go wrong rather than just let's just get this into a nice, manageable field goal spot, win the game.
We were in field goal range.
Sort of.
With a kicker who has never attempted a field goal over 50 yards in his career. And you're talking about being in field goal range from 60. Now, I did talk to some of the guys after the game, and I understand that Spencer Schrader might have kicked a 65-yarder in practice. That ain't practice. Why would you put that on his play? And by the way, I had to look this up after the game, Kevin. The Colts record is 58 yards, which was 43 years ago. So what are you doing?
Damn, shout out to that kicker. Made one 43 years ago.
Yeah,
from 58.
Again, what the heck are you talking about?
They pointed out on the broadcast, too, that in the pregame, the longest that he had attempted and tried to make was 59.
Well, I don't really. Spencer Schrader told us in the spring he could hit one from 70. Okay, that's great. That doesn't mean that you settle and you're content with, technically, to be fair, 58 yards was the mark they were at before losing 2 yards on the final 3rd down. That, to me, is an absolute ludicrous thought in being comfortable with that. I didn't get it at all. Shane Steichen should be thinking is, you know what, right now for that leverage penalty, because without it, what happened? Spencer Schrader was, short and right on the 60-yard attempt? That ball was not going in. It wasn't even close to going in. And I don't understand, what's the gamble in trying to get more yards there? To me, everything is a risk-reward base, when you're a head coach, when you're a play caller. And obviously we see Shane Steichen. He definitely is much more of a risky guy than he's not. as a play caller. Certainly all these fourth down calls. Like, when you run the risk of going for fourth downs, for example, obviously the reward at the end of the day is you're scoring touchdowns is the hope. You're growing a lead, et cetera, et cetera. To me, you're so afraid of letting them get a kick return, just kick the ball out of bounds. If that is your biggest issue there, if you're really, okay, maybe that doesn't run clock. Trust your defense to defend 65 yards of turf with 8 seconds to go in the game or 10 seconds to go in the game. I thought it was the perfect time to run a bootleg with Daniel Jones. And frankly, I think Daniel Jones has shown that with his legs, he also could
make
do
something happen.
Even if it's only 3 or 4 yards. If 58 becomes 54, then again, you are at least trying to make it a little bit more manageable. So I thought the Steichen explanation was just, I had no idea what he was saying, frankly, post-game. And that's what makes, I think, today a bit difficult. Yes, again, as we've said all along, Colts are 2-0. They're in a beautiful position. But if you're someone like Carly Ursay-Gordon, and your job is to evaluate more than just the black and white of your organization, how do you view this? Do you view it and say, oh, man, I mean, we all saw her facial reaction there when the third down call happened during the game. Do you say to yourself, boy, remember when he didn't have Jonathan Taylor on the field in the biggest play of the season in 2023? Remember in the biggest game of the 2024 season, he decided an A.D. Mitchell trick play was the way to go? And now here, like, do you just evaluate purely black and white? And it's only wins and losses is the only thing that matters. Or, as the CEO of the business, do you say process matters?
It does matter. That's why
gray area matters. And in this instance, I've got to evaluate that. Again, that is a lot of big picture stuff that she'll have to decide on later in the year. But I definitely couldn't ignore it if I were her.
I found it weird that, like, the Broncos defense, everybody considers a pretty good defense in the NFL. You gashed them for almost 500 yards on offense, and yet you got super conservative down on the final drive with a full complement of timeouts. Like,
and they had 9 guys in the box every play.
Yeah, and he bragged about it in the postgame. 470 yards of offense. Daniel Jones, 300 yards. Yeah, but you took it out of his hands when it mattered the most, and then you were worried about the kickoff, and that was after the fact you had to score a go-ahead field goal to begin with. So he's, like, overthinking himself, I felt like.
Yeah, and look, I thought Shane Steichen called a terrific football game yesterday and did most things right. They did rack up 473 yards of total offense. They got kind of weird at the very end there. But the other thing I would say, on otherwise a pretty good day for Shane Steichen, like, the head coach can't be getting 15-yard penalties. You just can't do that, man. How often do you see coaches get whistled for flags, Kevin?
Yeah, and Steichen is obviously, it's not like he has had that big of an issue, but yes, that is a negative mark yesterday. I have more of the, again, if I'm Carly Ursay-Gordon, are there repeatable issues of this? There are not repeatable issues of Shane Steichen acting like a maniac on the sideline, getting whistled for a 15-yarder. So, like, that to me, on the degree of, what you would question is a little bit lower on the, wait a minute, when we've gotten in these end-of-game situations, when there's been these big moments, I feel like the process has not been there. And I just say, I get your kickoff unit has, had some struggles this season, but to me, you got to make the damn field goal first. And James Boyd, Spencer Schrader's 45-yarder, that is his career long. He's never attempted a field goal past 45 yards in his NFL regular season career. He has never attempted a field goal past 45 yards. James, you and I were at Grand Park. Spencer Schrader probably, missed 4 or 5 kicks in his training camp this year? And I'm willing to bet all of them but one were past 50 yards. It's not like you got the Dallas kicker who's just, good from the moment he walks in the building. I mean, this is an unknown. And obviously, you were bailed out with it yesterday. By the way, Spencer Schrader will join us in 10 minutes.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to him about the day that was. And the Indianapolis Colts come up with a win. At the end of the day, they did enough to get the win. They got a break at the very end. They took advantage of that break, but they kept this is what I would say. Again, James, get your thoughts on this. The one thing that I really took out of yesterday's game for the Colts on a positive is they just kept taking shots and swinging and putting themselves in positions to win the football game all day long.
Yeah, to clarify there, I know we've had a couple of different numbers thrown out there. Again, feel free to correct me, Jeff, but I don't remember, Shrader has never attempted for 59 going into that game. He's never attempted for 50. His career long, according to what I've saw, at least on Pro Football Reference, Kevin, not to short him, he had 48-yarder last week against the Dolphins. So that is his career long, 48 yards. But again, never from 50. So why did you think that you could just settle for a 58 or 60-yarder? That doesn't make sense to me. And again, I don't want to take too much away from Shane because he was brilliant. I mean, I have to give credit where credit is due. You told us you could make it work with Daniel Jones, and it looks great so far. I mean, you guys are putting up points and scoring on drives at a historic pace. However, just trust that at least a little bit more to the finish line, because to me, when Daniel makes that throw to Alec Pierce to get that third down pickup late in the fourth quarter, that's your sign that, hey, this guy, if you believe in him, can make this play for us. So give him a chance. That's all I'm asking for. Give him a chance. But again, 99% of that game was called great. Just that last little percent on offense, believe in your guys, give him a chance. I'm sure he will probably think in hindsight, I should be a little less conservative there, because to me, it's the typical cliche. You played not to lose instead of playing to win, and you got bailed out for it. So again, you don't apologize for it, but hopefully we're not having this conversation again going forward.
Can I just point out, too, unbelievable, I thought terrific day for the offensive line. I mean, you run for over 160 yards. You limit the Broncos to 1 sack. Yeah, there were a couple hurries, but I thought the offensive line was terrific yesterday.
Yeah, that opening drive had me a bit worried. Again, I mentioned some of those Daniel Jones throws on the first drive. I thought he did a great job delivering from pretty, muddy pockets there. But, as the game moved along, I thought they largely did a really nice job. And Jones' ability to feel the pressure. When James brought up the Alec Pierce 3rd and 6 there on that final drive where he hit him in stride, if I'm not mistaken, there was some blindside pressure where, it was just split-second stuff there. And I think Jones has done a really nice, when you have some of these quarterbacks that haven't worked out in a certain franchise and you try to resurrect them, the nervousness with that is there scar tissue? Like, are they already broken? And it's hard to just kind of instill confidence back in them. And you watch Jones hang in the pocket yesterday, again, early in that game. He took some hits, and he, delivered on-target throws with guys around him, because week one is probably the aberration. It's not going to be that clean week in and week out. So, again, for me, the biggest takeaway from yesterday was Jones.
And
just his
hope
ability to deliver from the pocket, again, on target consistently, staying away from the interceptable balls, and then lastly, taking shots down the field. And for him to have checked those 3 boxes so emphatically through 2 weeks, particularly yesterday against that defense, I'm blown away by what he's done here in the first 2 weeks of the season.
We all had the collective sigh of relief when Quentin Nelson came back in the football game.
Yes,
just for a second there, I was like, what?
Yeah,
no, not him. Not Quentin.
Yeah, it kind of looked like he got chop blocked on that. I saw him talking to the ref about how he felt like that might have been an illegal play. But, yeah, certainly glad he got back up. And as most of the players will tell me, you get a win, you feel better.
Everybody feels better today. Victory Monday. We're going to talk to a man who has been terrific for the first couple of weeks of the season. Spencer Schrader joins us next. It's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
This is a 45-yard try to win the game. No time left on the clock. Colts down by 2, 28-26. Sanchez to put it down. There's the snap. Kick is on its way. Headed for the uprights. And it is good! A walk-off field goal. Spencer Schrader wins it for the Colts. Colts win 29-28. Ball game. I-N-D-Y.
A little bit overwhelming, but I think that goes to show just the passion of the guys and how much that team wins means to these guys. I'm just happy I could do my part. Feel very blessed to be here, be able to perform for my guys at the end of the day.
Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
That's the voice of Spencer Schrader after nearly destroying Matt Taylor on the play-by-play call right there. And the Colts come up with a dramatic 29-28 victory over the Denver Broncos at Lucas Oil Stadium yesterday. And joining us now on the Payless Liquors Hotline, the man who authored that fine finish, Spencer Schrader. Good morning, Spencer. Welcome to Victory Monday, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Wow. Take me through the last sequence of events from lining up a 58, 59-yarder to getting another chance at 45 and the way that game is playing out at the end. What are you thinking about there? What's going through your mind?
Yeah, so it starts on the sideline, just staying as calm as possible and not trying to think about that being a big moment, but just treating it like another kick and going through my pre-kick process. Get out there for the 60-yarder and, gave it a good effort. The flag came out. There was some chaos there, and then it's about the mental reset, just getting ready for the next kick. Got to flush everything in the past and move on, and was able to do that, and ultimate trust in Luke and Rigo to get the job done and the rest of the guys to protect up front, and then saw it go through at the end of the day, and it was a real big blessing.
Spencer, congrats, and thanks for the time early on this Monday morning. Your last game-winning kick was when?
Last year, Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right. You kicked for them for one game, is that right, or multiple games?
2 games. First game was in Buffalo, and the second game was against the Panthers in Carolina.
Okay, and then did they carry you off the field with the Chiefs like they did yesterday? I thought they were going to carry you all the way home.
No, I think that was like the second or third game-winning kick for the Chiefs that year. It wasn't quite as exciting as yesterday. Yesterday was definitely a lot cooler, getting carried off the field like that.
Well, I will say this, Spencer. I had a chance to talk to you in the locker room after the game, and you were telling us about your faith and how much that means to you. But I've watched a lot of sports. God wears a lot of different jerseys sometimes. So were you appreciative that you got a little bit of good fortune there at the end? And in all seriousness, how does that kind of shape how you go about your business?
Oh, no doubt. And I think that's well said. I think you got to have faith through the highs and the lows. And so I prepared myself before, and I knew that God loved me no matter what, if I made the kick or not. But I know that he wants me to succeed, and that he already gave me the ability to go out there and perform at a high level. And so I had confidence in that. And so just getting to share that moment with the team, relying on your faith in that instance is a really big deal, and it kind of sets up some momentum moving forward, and just really excited that we were able to get a team win like that and that everyone's celebrating.
And again, I know God loves you, but the teammates, as I'm watching the post-game interview, obviously we were all surrounding you after the game, probably the most cameras you've seen at the NFL level as far as, post-game stardom goes. What was it like to have, so many of your guys interrupted that interview and show you some love? Because I couldn't keep track of how many guys are trying to, make some noises or get your attention or show you some love that typically, doesn't always come the kicker's way.
Oh, I know. That's so special, and I think it points to how special this team is. We just have a great culture here. It's very family-oriented, and everyone cares for each other. And, the success of one comes from the hard work of many, and so it's just me doing my part at the end of the day, and those guys are fighting the whole game. They're trying to make plays on offense and defense, and so everybody's excited, when I do well at the end of the game, but it's a complete team effort to get to that point. And you got to love each other, and you got to trust each other to get to that point. And I think that's what came out as so evident, in the interviews after the game.
Talking to the game winner, the kicker, Spencer Schrader, who's had a terrific start to his Colts career here. And all through training camp, there was questions, there was competition coming in, and you just kept doing your thing and doing your thing. Has your confidence ever wavered, or does it grow through the things like training camp?
Yeah, I think your confidence definitely grows through training camp. I think it's finding the balance between confidence and humility, knowing that there's always something to work on and there's always something to improve on. But I think it's impossible to function at a high level if you're not confident in yourself. You have to have internal confidence and self belief to perform, but you also have to have the humility to know that you're very far from perfect and there's a ton of ways that you can improve. And so I try to just approach it on a day by day basis and see how can I get better today, where can I improve. And then when it comes to kicking on Sundays, it's a game by game basis, just trying to perform for my team that day and then approaching the next week right to put myself in a position where I can succeed for the guys next to me. So the confidence is built from the hard work, and that's just such a consistent process that you have to approach every single day and be able to manage the highs and the lows.
Spencer, I remember you told us in the spring you felt like you could make one from 70. I'm curious, in a game setting, is that number that long, or how far do you think you can make one?
Yeah, it depends on the environment and how you're feeling pregame. I think the furthest that I made that pregame was 63. That from that distance, you have to really focus in. You have to hit a really clean ball, and you just have to be very calm in that instance. So I still feel good from distance, and that's something that I'll continue to work on my lines and everything. And it's more so not about leg strength, but just I guess calmness in that instance. You try to swing too fast, you get too chaotic, you're going to hit the ball. And so you just got to relax yourself, be calm, strike a clean ball, and then it'll carry. And so, yes, I'm still confident from distance.
Spencer, I think some of our fans are familiar with your story. Obviously, you spent time here last year. Certainly your final year was at Notre Dame, the connection with Brian Mason, special teams coordinator there, a bit of a recruitment overlap. But could you share a little bit about your days growing up in Westfield? A little bit more on that front. It's not always been football through and through for you. So just maybe a little bit of your kind of Indiana-centric background for our audience that maybe isn't totally familiar with your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Westfield, right down the road, and I was a soccer player my whole life. And so I grew up playing at the Westfield soccer fields, the Carmel soccer fields, and traveling around the Midwest area, and just had an awesome childhood. Just really enjoyed growing up here in Indy. Never even thought about football. Football was never really a thing that my family was into, so it was just strictly soccer and a little bit of tennis and some other sports here and there. And then, loved growing up here. Lived here till I was 13, and then moved out to Austin, Texas for a year, and then to Florida after that. And then was very, very excited to get the opportunity to come back here when I grad transferred to Notre Dame, because I still have so many great connections in Indy. So much of my family's from here. And so coming back for Notre Dame was such a special experience and really felt like a homecoming of sorts. And then to have the chance to sign with the Colts last year and stay in Indy was just a huge blessing. So many supportive influences off the field, just a lot of local guys that I grew up with that are just amazing to hang out with, and really cool to see how they've grown and developed, and couldn't be more blessed to have the community that I have here. It's really special to play for a team that you grew up around and that you feel very connected to. I know a lot of guys don't have that privilege, in the NFL with the way that things work with being drafted and traded and signed to different teams. But for me to be here in Indy playing for a hometown team is something that means a lot to me.
You ready for the hard question, Spencer? The tough one?
Yeah, of course.
Are you the best professional athlete in your own household?
I'm doing my best to be. I think I'm the first person in the household to play a professional sport, but the reason I'm able to is because of all the hard work of people that came before me. And so I just feel like I'm doing my best to maximize my blessings, just like the people before me, and feel blessed to be here.
All right. Well, I'll let you run. I appreciate the conversation this morning. We'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. There he is, Spencer Schrader, getting it done.
Yeah, see, that is exactly why he was blessed with the kicking ability and the redemption story of yesterday, because if that was me kicking that field goal, oh, Lord have mercy, I probably would have said so many words you can't put on this airway today.
And, impressive, too. I've always been struck by Spencer, how he's wired. I mean, he's a very unique individual in the amount of positivity that he
it really
chooses to live his life with, and he's bullish on it. That is 1,000%. And it was him in his 1 year at Notre Dame. I remember I was struck by that the first time I heard him speak to the media then. And you know what? Going from the 60 to the 45-yarder. Can you imagine that emotional state that he just went through of not making the 60-yarder, then all of a sudden realizing you have a chance. And it's not like there's a long gap. I mean, what, he had 30 seconds before he's got to kick the next one?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I get a 45-yarder is not 60, but still, we just watched Will Lutz, a veteran kicker, a very accomplished kicker, slice one from 42 off the right upright there. And again, that was a kick that you've got to make it for the win. You miss that, and obviously the game is over. It's not like the Colts were tied in that situation. Which part of me watching Shane Steichen operate it, I'm like, does he think the game's tied? And even then, I wouldn't have fully understood it.
It did kind of seem like that for a second. And honestly, it was just fascinating to hear the players kind of recount their emotions. Spencer Schrader is like, yeah, I thought it was over. He's getting ready to walk off the field. Wait a second, there's laundry on the field. Now I get a second chance. I thought I'll ask Daniel Jones, did you think you lost the game? He looks at me, he's like, I'm the QB, I probably shouldn't say this, but yeah, I did think we lost the game, and then you realize you get another chance. And the one person who really kind of stood out to me was Jonathan Taylor at the end of the locker room. He's always one of the last guys out. And, he gives the typical cliche, good teammate answer. Oh, you believe until the final buzzer. There's always one more play out there. You always think you can make one more play. There's always time on the clock. And then, casually on the way out, JJ Stankovic, the Colts.com reporter, and also the third down guy at the Lucas Oil Stadium, he reminded JT, actually, there was no time left. There was no more plays left for you to make. There was a redo. You got a second chance, and he kind of just pointed to the sky and was like, well, somebody's watching us right now. And so you get a kick out of seeing that real emotion from the players and knowing how fortunate they are to be 2-0, to get a win like that. But honestly, and I put it in my story yesterday, this team has been through so much over the last, 5, 6, 7 years. They were due for some good luck or some good fortune at some point. So you don't apologize for it.
This team, at the beginning of the year, we have all kinds of questions about the quarterback and how good is Daniel Jones going to be. And he has really struggled with the New York Giants the last 3 years and all the things. They've scored on 13 possessions in 2 games, Kevin. I could have never seen that coming.
It's unbelievable how well they've moved the football. And again, it's a major credit, obviously, to Daniel Jones, certainly to Shane Steichen. Sitting here like, well, they have struggles finishing off drives. It's like, well, yeah, but they also have created, 12 red zone opportunities this year?
I was going to say, though, are you a bit concerned about that?
Yeah, yes, but let's also acknowledge they've also had 12 red zone drives. I mean, yes.
Yeah, so you get more cracks at it, you'll finish a couple of them, you'll be all right.
It's almost like that stuff. I'm like, can we get to that tomorrow? It's like they have moved the ball at just an unbelievable rate this season. And again, that defense yesterday is not some JV unit whatsoever. I think I did a couple Denver radio hits last week, and the general impression was like, we're not Miami's defense. We're not Miami's defense. And that was part of the reason why I thought it'd be a low-scoring game. I thought Denver would actually win the game. But for the Colts to have come out and bam, right away, scoring drive. They set the NFL record for most scoring drives in a row to start a season. It's just incredible. And I get there was some tough sledding in there, and yeah, there were some highs and lows, and yesterday was a bit of a roller coaster, and obviously defensively, you kind of came back down to earth after what you had in week 1, but for your offense to have moved it with such ease throughout these first 2 weeks, and yesterday Taylor obviously got going in the big way. That 68-yard run, him breaking that tackle in the backfield and taking off, was kind of vintage Taylor there, but it's been amazing, and I'll continue to go back to the quarterback. I mean, he's been absolutely outstanding. Yeah, outstanding through the first 2 weeks. I never would have guessed he would look like this.
A lot of fun to watch that game at the end yesterday. A lot of fun to watch the Colts just keep coming back. Like when they went down 28-20, you thought, ooh, this is going to be a tough one, because Denver had been moving the ball at that point in time. They had the 8-point lead, and the Colts just kept coming back. Get a field goal here, get another field goal, and then a chance to win it at the end. I was just impressed yesterday. I've said it a couple of times this morning. They just kept throwing shots. They just kept taking their shots.
And I know the defense struggled, and Xavier Howard really struggled, but
we can get into that. They looked at him like a weak link.
Yes.
Like burnt toast yesterday.
Yeah, Denver peppered him
3
with
penalties
targets
on one drive?
Yeah.
I think, 3 and 5 plays, I want to say, if you want to narrow it down to that. But that Cam Bynum interception, how many times do you see safeties? And certainly I watched it with my team on Saturday night. You get the near interception. and you think to yourself, man, are you going to regret that? Todd Blackledge, I thought, made a really good baseball analogy in the Notre Dame game when they dropped the interception. I forget if it was on second or third down, but he said it's kind of like the outfielder dropping the foul ball. And you're like, you don't want to give that batter one more chance at it. Cam Bynum catching that overthrow. Yes, it's an overthrow. It's a poor decision by Bo Nix, and sure, Grover Stewart might have impacted that. But, how many times do you see a safety dive for that and just not able to come up with it? And yet Bynum secures it, and that, at that point, Denver still was in Will Lutz field goal range. Who knows if he makes it or not? But all of a sudden, if that play becomes, boom, you stretch it to 8, Denver now, Indianapolis has to have a touchdown drive. To James's point, we've seen red zone issues. If you score in the red zone, you also have to get a 2-point conversion. That's not a given. So that play by Bynum, and boy, he's already fan favorite. He acted like that celebration was pretty organic. He just kind of saw blue in the area and said, let's thrust it.
I dig it.
You know what? I just think that he, as a person, is such a good addition to that locker room because he brings the fun. And you have, like, the quarterback who's so steady. And even after the game, I'm asking Mo Ali Cox, and I'm like, hey, Mo, did Daniel react at all? Like, did he have a little? And he's just like, yeah, but, like, not much. And I'm like, this guy doesn't have a pulse. He's just as even as they come. And then you have Cam Bynum, who's on the opposite end of the spectrum, where he's just, having the time of his life. But, again, it's being rewarded for making big plays. And to your point, Kevin, the guy says he's trying to go 17 for 17 in interceptions this season. Don't know if that's going to happen. That's a hard bar to clear. But for the first time in his career, he had back-to-back games with an interception, and that one yesterday was huge.
Yeah, he laid out to get that one, man.
Nice. The guy he's got good hands and obviously good dancing skills as well.
Yep, and it was also kind of cool to hear Spencer Schrader, who's been on a few teams in his time, from South Florida to Notre Dame and the Chiefs last year, and tried out for some other teams, talk about how special it feels in that locker room right now.
Yeah, and again, I get the whole, God's going to love me either way if I make or miss this kick, but brother, fans don't work like that. So we're glad you made the kick. You're loved right now, and obviously they should love him. He's a good kicker so far. And, we can get into this discussion later this week, but looking at all the moves Chris Ballard made this offseason, you get rid of Matt Gay. We saw what he did the other night on Thursday night, and he was rough. And granted, Spencer Schrader still hasn't had to attempt or make a kick from 50, but you move out Matt Gay for Spencer Schrader. You bench Anthony Richardson for Daniel Jones. You bring in Cam Bynum. You bring in Charvarius Ward. You made a ton of really big changes and kind of strayed from your usually conservative offseason approach, and it's paid off big time through the first 2 games of the season. Now, it is a long season. Things could change, but right now, this guy's looking at us like, hey, I told you guys what would happen.
And I want to mention something on Tyler Warren here before we move on.
Another new addition to the team.
He played 66 snaps yesterday. That is a huge number for a tight end. Absolutely huge number. I think only one time last year did any tight end in the NFL reach that number, and you saw it. And I brought this up throughout the week. I felt like Warren was already starting to command major attention from an opposing defense. And there are a couple moments, and Warren actually had one of those catches late in the game, where Denver decided to put the defensive player of the year in the entire NFL from last season, Patrick Surtain, on Tyler Warren. I think it was like a 3rd and 4, maybe late in the third quarter, where Warren kind of boxes him out for a catch to extend a drive. Think about that. A rookie tight end in his second week of NFL football is being covered by the defensive player of the year in the NFL from last season.
And rightly so.
Right. I totally get why Denver did that. And, it was kind of funny. Again, I mentioned those Denver radio hits I did. I brought that up. I was like, yeah, I'll be curious in the red zone to see if they guard Warren at all with him. And they're kind of like, really? And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the makeup. And I think the attention he already deserves. And, again, 4 catches for 79 yards. When's the last time the Colts have had a tight end go back-to-back games,
top defense
with over 70 yards, and a ton of it after the catch, which, again, that is a big part of his MO as a player.
How did A.D. Mitchell do? Should we do the A.D. Mitchell catch counter for Jeff's
Keep it rolling.
purposes?
Yes,
Every little bit helps.
What did we end up at yesterday? Was that another 2?
Every little bit helps.
Another 2 catches.
That total says 2.
4.
We're
on the way.
So
Need almost 6
4
catches.
down. How many to go?
76 to go.
Keep going.
15 games left.
Keep going.
You need about 5.5 catches a game.
Let's go.
7 snaps for A.D. Mitchell yesterday. It does seem like when he's on the field, they do like throwing the football at him. So, Jeff, you just need an injury.
Open.
You just need an injury at wideout, and you could be on your way to something.
I'm still a believer in all that talent. I will say that. All right, let's check it down. $29-28. That's the number you need to worry about. The Colts come up with a 1-point victory over the Denver Broncos on a second try for a game-winning field goal. The first one from 60, no good, but it was waved off after a Denver penalty for leveraging. Move it 15 yards closer, hit the 45-yarder. Colts are 2-0 for the first time since 2009. And James Boyd Daniel Jones, 316 yards and a touchdown, and he looks comfortable in that offense.
They call him Dimes for a reason, and I get that he's not really the big nickname type. Kevin, you asked him about that last week. But after that game, I couldn't help but hear that nickname several times, and all he could do, the modest QB, was kind of grin and agree. He's been cooking.
He might have had a slight hint at what he's feeling through these first 2 weeks.
Yes.
And maybe we'll get that audio coming up on tomorrow's show. But it was really the first time that, I don't want to say he cracked, but like it was the first time when you read that quote on paper, you can kind of hear him, wow, this means something. Certainly based off how his career was going to this point.
The 85 Bears had the punky QB in Jim McMahon. Maybe the Colts have the modest QB in Daniel Jones.
There we go.
Put it on a T-shirt.
Mark, I got a futures bet for you.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor is 27-1 to be the league MVP. Had 165 yards yesterday and a receiving touchdown as well. That might not be a long shot play to make right now, right?
Who's our last running back to win MVP?
Was it Adrian Peterson?
I was going to guess Adrian Peterson. I feel like Henry has had some deserved seasons, but has never.
Like, and if Saquon Barkley isn't going to win it last year with over 2,000 yards, I mean, it's hard for running backs to win.
It is, but man, he is.
Those are some
made
good
a nice
odds.
case first couple of games.
Adrian Peterson in 2012.
Yeah, so just give me the money if you're feeling generous.
How about this? First 10 drives of a season resulting in a score. That is an NFL record, as you had pointed out, Kevin. And overall, 13 scoring drives for this team in first 2 games. 13!
It is incredible. I know the punt stat can be a little skewy because they've gone for it, and Miami extended a drive via penalty. But, yeah, they haven't punted through the first 2 weeks, which is pretty amazing as well. So, again, just an absolutely torrid offensive start, and so much credit to Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones for helping operate that.
All right, the Indiana Fever start their playoff push yesterday. They were in Atlanta, got off to a nice start, but then kind of faltered. The dream come and win it by a score of 80-68. They were down. The Fever now down 1-0 in the best of 3. Kelsey Mitchell did score 27 points. Odyssey Sims had 10 points. Aaliyah Boston, 8 points, 12 rebounds. Game 2, Tuesday night at the Fieldhouse, James. They got to get it done. Got to get it done. That's it.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow night. I believe this is the first Fever home playoff game in 9 years. The last time they had a game of this caliber was when Tamika Catchings was playing. So a lot has changed between now and then, and you're looking at Kelsey Mitchell and company and Aaliyah Boston and company to keep the season alive.
All right, let's take a look at what happened in Major League Baseball yesterday. Do we need to do that, Kevin? I'd prefer not to, but I guess we have to.
Reds are dead. They've been dead for 3 weeks. You and Mark have tried to create fake hype.
Not me. I'm just going on the Jeff bandwagon. It's all Jeff at this point.
Well, they're in trouble right now. They're even passed by the Arizona Diamondbacks after being swept by the A's this week. So they got a couple of teams to pass, including the Diamondbacks and the Giants, and now 2.5 behind the Mets. They're not dead yet, as Monty Python might say, but it's getting close. It's getting late.
Boy, I think the paddles aren't even getting a heartbeat at this point.
Jeez, Mark.
Just saying.
Later on today, the Cubs will play at Pittsburgh. They came up with a 4-3 victory over the Rays yesterday. Cardinals and the Reds square off at 7:45 tonight. The White Sox are at home against the Baltimore Orioles as we head down the stretch in Major League Baseball. Auto racing yesterday, NASCAR, Christopher Bell wins at the Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, in the Bass Pro Shops night race. That was actually Saturday night. That was late Saturday night, not yesterday. So, anything else you guys want to throw in from the weekend?
Should be a hell of an atmosphere coming up in Bloomington Saturday night. I thought College Game Day should have gone there.
That's so weak that they're not there.
Yeah, and
Where are they going?
They're going to Miami, Florida, which they should not. They should be in Bloomington. I get you have the NBC, maybe ESPN element that plays a role in this one, but one of the biggest home games in, frankly, IU football history coming up on Saturday night there. And James Boyd, I believe you're fighting Illini. I think I saw 3.5 point underdog in this one, so should be a hell of a time Saturday night down there.
You'd think
James
they'd be there, but,
man,
it's probably the opponent, Illinois, that just not appetizing. That's probably what it is. Nobody wants to see Illinois. That must be it.
Jeff, you are from Colorado and didn't even come to that game yesterday to watch the Colts and the Broncos.
I had hosting duties yesterday.
I don't want to hear none about what you talking about, who's showing up.
I had hosting duties yesterday.
Yeah,
See, you would just leave. You would invite a bunch of people to your house and just leave them hanging, right?
No, I wouldn't have invited them to my house. They would have been in a hotel, as most college students usually are on trips. But
man, no good deed with you.
Nah, that's not a good deed. There's other good deeds like paying for a hotel. But in all seriousness, I'm excited for that game. I've been getting a lot of chatter. I got some in person yesterday, and I'm letting y'all know right now, I'm talking my trash all week long. And I did see someone say, if IU wins, I have to wear an IU shirt to the show on Monday. So I'll be going out to the shop later today to get an IU football shirt. So who knows if I'll need it? Hopefully I don't, but man of my word, I will wear the shirt if they lose.
4.5 point underdogs to Indiana is what Illinois is at the moment.
Oh, it's grown a little.
Yeah, I just looked. 4.5.
We finna
they
beat
they
the
heard
brakes
that
off
conversation.
them. I can't wait.
They heard that conversation. They're like, let's go.
Off of them.
All right. Coming up next, it's Goats of the Week, Mark. Is that what we're doing up? Yeah, we'll talk about it as we continue. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. There we go, Mark. One of my favorites right there. Welcome into a Victory Monday as the Colts celebrated a 29-28 victory over the Denver Broncos yesterday. We'll be talking about that throughout the day. Terrific to talk to Spencer Schrader, who authored the game-winning field goal from 45 yards after the penalty called against the Denver Broncos. But we are talking about a 2-0 football team, Kevin Bowen, for the first time since 2009?
Super Bowl year. 14 in a row that year. So 12 more to go to tie that team. I said it to start off the show. One thing to note, too, and again, we're 2 weeks into the season, but the Colts are in such great standing within the AFC, and I just saw this news from Adam Schefter. It's just awful for the Bengals, but Joe Burrow indeed will need surgery. And Adam Schefter reporting that's going to sideline him for a minimum of 3 months. So, that's one of what? The three? How many undefeated teams are left in the AFC? Bills, Bengals, Colts, and then we'll get one tonight, right? Is it Chargers and Raiders tonight?
Yep.
So we'll get one of those teams that obviously will be undefeated. So, this is about as – and I get yesterday had highs and lows and, whatever. The Colts take a gift. But, from a pure black and white, wins, losses, standings, I can't imagine how the first 2 weeks of the season could have gone any better for the Colts.
So far, so good. All right, it's time to pass out some hardware for the week here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Who is the GOAT?
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
Jordan, here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good!
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Or GOAT?
This guy sucks.
Of the week.
All right, James Boyd, we're going to let you do the honors this week,
I'm going to let you go first. Every time we pick something, you always
I have mine written down. I've got them written down.
Yeah, I don't want to steal from you this time.
I'm going to go with Cam Bynum's stomach push celebration.
That's a good one.
Going into the end zone yesterday. I was laughing hard when he tucked that football under his jersey, stood up next to Blue, and started pushing that belly up towards the sky like Blue always does. I thought, that's a man in touch with the mascot and what's going on the field right there. That was awesome yesterday.
That was funny.
2 picks in 2 games as well. I'm into Cam Bynum right now, man.
I like that. I think my pick for GOAT of the week will probably be Jalen Hurts. I don't know if you saw his interaction. They had a hot mic that caught him talking to Chris Jones, and the Chiefs' defensive tackle, as the Eagles are about to kneel it out, says something like, "Oh, you didn't even have 100 yards today." And he's like, "We're about to win, so shut the F up." And I was like, you know what? Yes, that is my type of energy right there. Jalen Hurts, we can knock him. We can say, where does he rank in the top 10 quarterbacks, top 5 quarterbacks? All I know is he has a Super Bowl ring, and the Eagles are going to be in position to probably win another one this year. They'll be in that mix, I'm sure, come season end, as far as who's shaking out when it comes to championships, hardware, and all the above.
Good
Mark,
stuff.
I think mine might be yours, so I'll let you go first.
I highly doubt mine is yours. I highly doubt it. But I'll go. My good is Anthony Rizzo, one of my all-time favorite Cubs.
Mark, that was mine.
Was it really?
Yes.
Look at that.
I thought that was awesome. Will you explain everything?
Okay,
for people
so
that
Anthony
didn't see?
Rizzo ended up retiring from baseball. He signed a 1-day contract with the Cubs. And on Saturday, it was basically Anthony Rizzo Day. So he threw out the first pitch. He got a 1-day contract with the team, retired. He then went to the bleachers. He drank beer with fans. He bought beers with fans. He sang the 7th inning stretch with Eddie Vedder and Cindy Crawford. He started the beer snake. He gave out he almost caught a legit home run ball. He caught an autograph ball from Ian Happ, but also had $100 tied to it. He was handing out cards and free drinks to everyone, saying thank you for all the support through the years. Here's a beer on Anthony Rizzo. Put that man's statue out at Gallagher Way. Retire that man's jersey. He is he is the face of the franchise of the greatest run that Cubs baseball in mine and many Cubs fans' lifetimes. I love that man, Anthony Rizzo. He's a Cub for life. He's one of my all-time favorites.
I hate the Cubs, and I thought that was awesome, Mark. I thought that was so cool. I thought the whole day, Rizzo in the bleachers, the near catch of the home run, the Ian Happ, beer money as you mentioned. I thought that was just awesome.
The fact that the home run ball, almost like he hit it. It hit his hand.
100%.
He tried to barehand it one hand. If he would have used both hands, he would have caught it.
And it kind of reminded me a few years ago, like Joey Votto did, like a little tour around the ballpark. kind of like Rizzo, not to the full degree of that. And I'm like, it's kind of like what you enjoy about baseball.
Yeah.
There's just kind of a cool element to it.
He had an autographed jersey with all the
I saw that.
all the team on it and everything like that. He was auctioning off for pediatric cancer afterwards and stuff. Just an awesome dude. Again, just a great atmosphere.
My goat.
Thank you, Kevin. That was quite nice of you for that to be your good.
Yes, and I genuinely mean it. The other goat that I had written down, Cheyenne Parker Tyus. That is a member of the Las Vegas Aces. She played 11 minutes yesterday in their playoff win. Last week, she played 2 months after delivering a child.
Oof.
2 months after delivering a child. Can you imagine birthing an individual and going out there and playing a professional sport 2 months later?
No, I can't even.
I can't walk from here to the bathroom without groaning. This woman is playing in a WNBA playoff game. She had 7 points yesterday. 2 months after having a baby.
I say it all the time. Women are tougher than men. They just are.
Shout out Cheyenne Parker Tyus.
That's incredible stuff. So many to choose from for the bad goat of the week. Where do I go? I think I'm going to go with Shedeur Sanders. The Sanders family just continues to have bungled the entire drafting situation. The Baltimore Ravens, who are going to be in position to win some hardware this year, were ready to take Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd pick of the 5th round overall. And apparently they were told by Shedeur and his representatives, no, Shedeur doesn't want to play for you guys. He wants to go someplace where he has a chance to actually get on the field. Don't draft him. It just seems like every time we turn around, JP, the Sanders family is doing something to mess up their own draft status this past year. What's going on there?
He might have made the right choice. Did you see the Browns yesterday?
Yeah, but Dylan Gabriel is going to be their starting quarterback soon.
Good luck, Cleveland, with all of it. I mean, every quarterback on that roster, not feeling it. But to your point, yeah, that's just ridiculous. Go where you can be accepted, drafted, start your career. If he had a do-over for all that, I think that he would do things a lot differently. My lowercase go to the week, and I talked to Kevin about this during one of the breaks. Christian Gray, Notre Dame defensive back, brother, you got exposed so many times in that primetime slot the other night in the loss to Texas A&M. I was disgusted. Gave up an 86-yard touchdown down the sideline, and he goes in, and I hate this. I had never played football before, but I do know this. Use your arms to tackle, maybe? He tries to hit stick the Texas A&M receiver and missed him completely. Gave up an 86-yard touchdown, and it's a 1-point loss. So he was someone who I saw frequently on my timeline getting yelled at. Now, obviously, I don't want anything bad to happen to him or anything like that, but you got to shake back, brother. That was a bad performance.
Mine is Bears GM Ryan Poles. He had 2 2020. Just give me like 30 seconds here.
All of the Bears?
He had 2 2025 second-round picks and a third-round pick as healthy scratches in yesterday's game. The second game of the season, he drafted Colston Loveland, who was MIA until garbage time. Luther Burden, also a second-round pick, garbage time. Didn't see him till then. He's done little to nothing in 2 games. And the defense is getting shredded for 70-plus points in the last 5 quarters, and yet that he got a 5-year extension 2 months ago. I don't understand it. I don't get it. His winning percentage is like lower than the White Sox was when they lost 100 games last year. It makes no sense. I haven't seen it much. I'm not panicking about Ben Johnson or Caleb Williams yet, but I don't like what I see 2 games in, and I also am not seeing many Pro Bowlers being added to this roster from Ryan Poles, and it makes me sad.
Mark, I can shake your hand right now. I am the negative goat of the weekend. It is absolutely, utterly pathetic how much that Notre Dame loss changed my mood. It is gross. It's disgusting. I need to grow up as a husband, as a father, as a brother, as a son, as an uncle, whatever else, other titles, as a coworker. It is just so sad how I felt as soon as that 4th and goal was completed by Texas A&M on Saturday night. I'm a pathetic fan. I need to stop cheering. I might need to break away from sports. I might need to get a normal 9 to 5. It might need to be you 3 moving forward.
No, you're not leaving me.
Could have gone either way, Kevin.
God, you want him to break a chair over your back?
Jeff, you can kiss my ass with that comment. All right.
Hey, look, special honorable mention to Dondre Tillman. We were talking about this before the game. The man's kicking a 60-yard field goal, and you're getting a penalty for leveraging.
Yeah,
what was that all about?
That is probably a good one.
Honestly, I'm sure he's sick right now still.
Sean Payton handled that a lot better post game than I think I would have.
That we saw.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
All right, that's the GOATs of the week here on a Monday morning. It's the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan, and looking forward to the rest of the day. Kevin Harlan coming up soon. We'll be talking to Kevin Harlan this morning. Mark, 9 o'clock, that's right. The voice of the game yesterday for CBS will stop by and join us as we continue. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Big day yesterday. The Fever play a playoff game. They lose in Atlanta, but here in Indianapolis, we're all watching the Colts take down the Denver Broncos. And look, they were down 28-20. It's getting late, and they just kept putting scoring drives together. I know they were field goals, but they got enough field goals, and they win at 29-28. And I've said it repeatedly this morning. I'll say it again for you late risers, those just getting to us. They just kept punching. They just keep scoring. I can't get over the fact, and I've said this several times too, James, in 2 games, this team that we watched all year last year has scored on 13 possessions in 2 games.
Remarkable stuff offensively. Are you concerned at all, Kevin, about the lack of pass rush we saw yesterday from this team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's pretty rare, frankly, to win an NFL game without a sack or a hit. I don't think saw the stat crew, I think, called that DeForest Buckner take down a Bo Nix. Kind of a busted play by Denver. I think they called it a run. So, yes, I do think – and to me, it can't just all be Latu, his absence there. So, yes, I think that is a concern moving forward. Definitely you exit yesterday with a few more defensive questions. Certainly Xavier Howard looked old. And Denver targeted him in a way that I thought Miami should have. Miami really didn't. Denver did. So will that be more of the norm? I guess the good news, though, is, the absences for Ward and Latu, you don't think will be too long there. By the way, JT Tuimoloau in his NFL debut, just 5 defensive snaps. So for a rotational defensive end, that's a pretty small number. I think that probably speaks for itself. But they went with Kwity Paye, Samson Ebukam, and Tyquan Lewis, and I thought largely, honestly, the most notice I got out of those 3 was probably Lewis committing the penalty there on the far sideline. Yeah,
I think for JT, it's fair to raise questions about what they think of him so far, and I get that, the first week it was, we're defensive tackle heavy over defensive ends. Second week, one of your defensive ends is out, and the guy still barely plays. So I'm wondering about his development and how they view their second-round pick, because second-round picks play, and they play a lot most of the time. So the fact that he's barely playing is something to keep an eye on.
I would agree with that. Also, the first-round pick, though, no questions about him so far. Tyler Warren is looking like a veteran tight end. But he looks like a veteran tight end. Looks like he's been here, done that for a while.
Yeah, he looks like a future Pro Bowler, honestly.
Yeah, he so back-to-back 70-yard games for Warren. I don't believe a Colts tight end has done that since Eric Ebron. So it's pretty rare. I don't think a Colts tight end's ever done 3 in a row. So if Tyler Warren goes over 70 yards in Tennessee on Sunday, if my math is correct, and think about the tight ends that have played for the Colts: Dallas Clark, John Mackey, tons of other Pro Bowlers, frankly, around that. Damn impressive. And I'll go back to something I said earlier in the show. The fact that Denver showed the amount of respect to Tyler Warren to, on multiple occasions in that game, take their defensive player of the year, cornerback Patrick Surtain, and put him on Tyler Warren, tells you everything you need to know about what the NFL already thinks of Tyler Warren. Certainly the numbers speak for itself, but clearly the league thinks very, very highly of the guy. And you saw a lot of the catch and run yesterday, which I think, we didn't see maybe a ton of that week 1. That is going to be a big, big wrinkle to what he can offer you.
And I think on top of all that, to me, the cherry on top is this is tough to do in the NFL. To your point, they got Surtain. He's getting open. Like, he is finding open seams when he's running these routes. I mean, you think about a guy like Travis Kelce. Yeah, you think a guy like Travis Kelce, who's all of a sudden always seemingly, he's getting a little older now, but he was always 2-3 yards away from anybody else. You're like, wait, how's that happen? And that's starting to look like it's the case for Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with also giving some credit to Shane Steichen there for what they've been able to dial up. And again, the overall theme of this show, I feel like so far, has been what's the balance between giving some credit and also giving some criticism, because Shane called a great game for 98% of it. And then the last, little stint there, you just wonder why he got so conservative after you've had so many answers all game long, especially offensively.
And just before that, they did a great job of scheming Josh Downs open across the middle when Surtain thought he was going to get a rub but didn't, and he had to come underneath the route, and next thing you know, there's Josh Downs all alone on a key play. So to go from that to, like, I'm just going to run the ball and make sure we run off all the clock and we'll kick a 60-yarder just didn't make a lot of sense.
We're in field goal range. and you're 60 yards away.
We should play that Steichen audio. I know we got Kevin Harlan coming up, but we should play that Steichen audio again coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. A few people have asked about the explanation on what happened there at the end.
All right, we'll do it all next. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Jones play action, drops the throw.
Got it.
Downfield. Tyler Warren. There he goes down the near sideline 30. He's at the 20-yard line, then banged out of bounds at the Denver 18-yard line and a gain of 41 yards. Jones goes out of the gun. Shotgun snap. Throws it right side. Caught Jonathan Taylor. Big run down the far sideline 30. He's at the 20. Speed to burn, and Jonathan Taylor is ran out of bounds at the 11-yard line of Denver. Jones under center. Takes the snap. Trying to put the ball across the goal line. There's the signal. Finally, touchdown. Daniel Jones. Shotgun snap for the quarterback. Throws to wide open Jonathan Taylor. And he's going to walk in. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jones to Taylor. Gets out of one tackle in the backfield. Positive gain. He's at the 30, 35, 40. It's a foot race. 50, 40. Down the near sideline. He's at the 20, 15, and pushed out of bounds inside the red zone. Jonathan Taylor with a huge gallop. Denver leads by 2, 28-26. His first field goal try today. This one is up, has plenty of leg, and he missed it! He missed it! It hit off the right upright. He doinked it off the right upright, and the Colts still remain by only down 2 points. All right. This might be a leaping situation on Denver.
Personal foul, leverage, defense number 96. Oh, wow! A 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So it makes a 60-yard field goal down to about a 45-yard field goal. This is a 45-yard try to win the game. No time left on the clock. Colts down by 2, 28-26. Sanchez to put it down. There's the snap. Kick is on its way. Headed for the uprights. And it is. It's good! A walk-off field goal. Spencer Schrader wins it for the Colts. Colts win 29-28. Ball game. I-N-D-Y.
A little bit overwhelming, but I think that goes to show just the passion of the guys and how much that team wins means to these guys. I'm just happy I could do my part. Feel very blessed to be here, be able to perform for my guys at the end of the day.
I'll tell you what, man, you want to talk about gritty, right? Gritty, tough, physical. And at the end, when we need it, one day at a time, though. One day at a time, we get it done. Hell of a team win.
Yeah, it was. I'll take it. Matt Taylor is going to be recovering all day long today, and happily so. Victory Monday. The Colts 29-28 winners over the Denver Broncos, and Kevin Bowen, a very unlikely chain of events in the last couple of minutes. Could have swung for the Broncos. Obviously, they hit the post on a Lutz field goal attempt. Colts get it back. They move well. Some nice play calls. They get onto the plus side of the field, and then all of a sudden they just go into total conservative mode. But it works out because they get bailed out by a leveraging call on an attempted 60-yard field goal. We move it up 15 yards, as you heard just there. Spencer Schrader makes it happen.
Yeah, Matt Taylor, ever seen leaping right there from Simeon Rice on the infamous Monday night comeback in Tampa in 2003. Yesterday it was leverage, so thank you to the L penalties that the Colts seem to garner on these game-winning field goal moments. But, yeah, again, so much good with Shane Steichen from a play-calling standpoint yesterday through these first 2 weeks. So much good from Daniel Jones. And then, weirdly, oddly, it reminded me of Frank Reich with Carson Wentz at the end of the 2021 season.
Ooch.
Just in being so afraid to try and get into more manageable field goal range. It was unbelievable to me how content Steichen was to settle for a long field goal. And, James, when Steichen explained after the game, I thought to myself, okay, will he play the game of, you don't want a big negative play in that instance? Sometimes you see coaches say, hey, holding penalty decimates you. But, that wasn't his explanation at all. And it was just very odd. And Sean Payton even said after the game, Sean was like, we were expecting at some point a bootleg. You didn't get any of that there. And I thought the Steichen rationale after the game made no sense.
Well, there was no rationale. And honestly, that's probably why we didn't get an explanation. I'm serious. I mean, the rationale is that I
think he genuinely means what he said.
Yeah, you're afraid that they're going to have a potential to return the ensuing kick that you assume happens after you make your kick. which, again, you're not even close enough to really decide if you're even in. Like him saying definitively we're in field goal range, I thought it was insane. But I digress.
Well, and two, it goes against everything Steichen is about. Here's this uber-aggressive play caller.
Right.
And Denver is showing you 8, 9 guys in the box. So, like, when you see that, Steichen is not an idiot. Why not try and spread them out a little bit to run against a little bit? If you are committed to running there, and if you are saying, hey, we're going to play it uber safe, why not try and force Denver into whatever, a little bit of a nickel look or a dime look and run it instead of just kind of hammering it against that box? And you saw the results of it. So for those that missed it earlier, Mark, go ahead and cue this up. This is Shane Steichen. Mark's spliced together a couple of different answers when asked after the game about the end of game sequence.
Can you explain the decision at the end to, I guess, just settle for the 60-yard field goal and then the relief that you kind of got bailed out there?
Yeah, well, we were in field goal range there, felt good about it, and then on that third down, obviously we went backwards there on that one. But yeah, I mean, that's football sometimes. Obviously, yeah, we got the penalty that helped us out and found a way to win it there.
You're trying to make sure there's no clock left for Denver?
Yeah, because, I don't want to get into it, but yes. Yeah, I don't want any time left on that clock.
That's not what you want, right? I mean, what are you weighing there, I guess?
Yeah, I guess I'll get into it, whatever is the kickoff there at the end, you know what I mean? You don't want to let them get a return there. That's why. And then obviously you kick it out. I mean, obviously we saw a situation that happened already in the league with it.
There you go. We saw the situation that happened already in the league. We weren't going to let that happen. We'll take our chance with a 60-yard field goal.
I'm trying to think of what game he's referencing. It's on the tip of my tongue, honestly. But nevertheless, I think with the situation he's trying to explain, that just kind of falls flat. And even initially saying, I don't want to get into it. No, you should. You should. You are the biggest voice of the Colts throughout the season. You are speaking for the entire franchise more than anybody else. So when you make decisions that are that big in those moments, yes, you should explain it. Because honestly, you do know more football than the average person, obviously, because you're a head coach. And for us to better understand your reasoning, you should be able to stand up there and explain it. And the initial thought of just thinking you're going to make it through the entire press conference without having an answer for that is crazy to me. I'm glad that we were able to ask a few follow-ups and get something, because to initially say, like, I won't get into it. No, you will. You need to, because that made no sense. And it still doesn't.
We are nitpicking a 2-0 start, though, and we love that, 29-28, and I agree with everything you guys just said.
Yeah, I was like, nitpicking,
but they
we're
also
holding you accountable, because
they
that
also
was
beat
crazy.
a really good football team yesterday. At the end of the day, they beat a really good football team.
Well, and again, there's two situations here. The Colts are 2-0.
Yeah.
They are in a great spot right now. Daniel Jones has looked exceptional. All of that is abundantly true.
Absolutely.
Now, if you want to put on Carly Ursay-Gordon's headset for a second here, let's talk big picture briefly. How is she evaluating this season? Is it purely off of wins and losses? Purely off of black and white? Or does she involve gray area? Does she involve process? She's on the headset for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Because she wants to know some of that other stuff. So I assume she's going deeper than just the Colts went 9-8, they made the playoffs, that means everybody's back. That would be my assumption.
If they go 10-7, I don't think there's any way everybody doesn't come back, right?
So you think it's just black and white? You think it's purely?
I think
if you meet a record, then we don't look at Chris Ballard's previous 8 years. We don't look at Shane Steichen's previous time. We everybody's a clean slate, and it's just strictly black and white.
I don't think it's so much black and white in the record. I think at the end of the year, if you 10-7 and you say to yourself, this team is remarkably better than they were a year ago. And the arrow is pointing, not only did they make progress this year, but the arrow is pointing up. There are still things that need to be worked on and still deficits that need to be brought up. But I think if your arrow is pointing in the right direction and you say to yourself, man, this team got a lot better in 1 year. And right now, it's 2 games. It's only 2 games. But right now, they're a lot better than they were last year.
Better be ready to back up that Brinks truck for Daniel Jones then.
Obviously, the quarterback play has been exceptional through 2 weeks. But, again, these are the Carly combos. And, it's September 15th. You don't need to make anything from a decision standpoint anytime soon. But does she look at that and say, man, and I don't want to read too much into her facial reaction. She clearly had some reaction on the sideline yesterday. They're late. Does she look and say, gosh, how lucky is that? I mean, could that have easily been Jonathan Taylor not on the field, the most critical play of the 2023 season when it was Gardner Minshew to Tyler Goodson? Does she look at the A.D. Mitchell trick play in Denver last year and say, man, some of these end-of-game situations, we love him as a play caller, but you got to wear the head coach hat too.
I think it's probably one of those things where, as the owner, you have your meeting with him. I'm assuming she meets with him once a week or whenever, and say, hey, great win yesterday. Help me understand what was the thought process there at the end of the game. What was going on there? I didn't quite get that, so help me understand that. I think those are ongoing conversations that you have rather than just evaluating everything all at once. I think it is process. How do you go about it? How do you address that? How do you move forward with all those things?
When they break down the film today, Kevin, do you think Shane will say, you guys bailed me out or we got bailed out? Do you think those words will come out of his mouth?
Like to his team?
Like
or to the media?
Not to us, because I don't think he'll ever say it to us, but to his team. Because I do think to a degree, you have to, I mean, you're asking players to own things. And
sure,
And I'm not, again, Shane called a great game for 99% of it. I do not think this offense looked the way it has through 2 weeks without him. But I wonder in those moments where, again, last year, JT, the dropped touchdown run in Denver, the mistakes we've seen from Anthony Richardson throughout his career early on, like, you've asked these guys to own it, and they've been hammered in the media for it. What are you doing to do the same thing? Because I don't think you can stand up there and tell them, like, oh, we're so gritty, we're so tough, we found a way. Yes, but, like, dude, you kind of put us in a position where we were supposed to lose.
No, I think it's a very good point. Yes, I think it would be important for that locker room for them to hear that, because it is a little it's a little outside of the box, and I think guys would appreciate that from their head coach. And you know, if I were an offensive player on that team, I'd sit there and think to myself, wait a minute, you go for fourth downs endlessly, you throw the ball a whole lot. Why did we get so conservative? 7 out of 8 plays are runs, running against heavy boxes. Shane Steichen's a big numbers guy. None of those numbers the Colts got look-wise from Denver late in that game indicated run it. And they ran it with very heavy personnel groupings, a lot of tight ends on the field there. So I do think that would be kind of an important message to send to your team and might have a little bit more of a lasting effect on it. And, of course, how much transparency and clarity would he provide them?
The last thing I'll say is I did ask Mo Alley-Cox about the play calling late, and I was like, hey, what'd you think of just what the decisions were? And he said, quote, we have practice with Shrader, and he can hit for 65+. So I understand the trust coach had in him. We all believe in him, but I just thought we would throw it at least one time because we were running the ball, and these dudes, the Broncos, they knew we were running the ball too. There you have it.
Yeah.
From a player on your own team.
That last part, it's like you can catch them all. And to me, a bootleg with Daniel Jones there still offers plenty of opportunity to run clock. If Jones sees nothing there, then whatever, scrambles for a yard or two, and it's pretty much the same thing. I think we're going to play, we caught up, we should probably just let the audience know, we caught up with Kevin Harlan this morning, actually, before our show. We'll probably play that coming up here around 9:30. He was on the call for those that were in the building yesterday or listened to Matt Taylor and Rick Venturi. Kevin Harlan was on the CBS call. And, Mark, you set this up with him. He offered to record with us at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning before he flies to Houston, correct, tonight?
Yep. Yeah.
To do the Westwood One broadcast?
Yeah, we tried to get him on before the game, and he's like, my schedule's crazy. I mean, he's a busy man. He's on every call of every game. He was out in L.A. doing some NBA stuff with Adam Silver and everything and whatnot, and then he was flying out here, and then he said, hey, I can probably get on with you guys Monday morning if you don't mind pre-taping with me, because then I have to fly out of Indy to go do the Monday night game tonight. I'm like, my God. Imagine the W-2s that guy's filling out. Good grief.
And all he had to do was say, hey, I'm going to be on a plane.
Just tell us no.
That's literally. But I will tell you this. 30 years I've been interacting with Kevin Harlan. Probably talk to him 3-4 times a year, whether it's here or ESPN Radio or Sporting News Radio, wherever I've been. That's Kevin Harlan. I don't remember him ever saying no, or if he did, hey, could we do it tomorrow? Is there some time we could do it later this week? He's gracious with his time. He's always terrific before and after the interviews. He's just a good dude, as far as I can tell.
He can easily say, lose my number, kid.
Yeah,
like, okay,
I'm not that gracious. So when I hit the road and get on a plane in a couple weeks for some of these road games, don't call me.
I mean,
Don't even ask me.
that was like 23-year-old me, like somebody asking in a different market, hey, will you come on our radio show? I'll do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Name me the time, name me the place. Do you need me to drive to your radio station? And for Kevin Harlan to do that, super nice of him. So we'll play that coming up here at 9:30. I did want to get back to Daniel Jones for just a second because for me, I thought what was different yesterday, and this is like another step in the right direction, another growth, period of week one, he benefited so much, I thought, from that offensive line play. I thought they provided clean pocket after clean pocket after clean pocket. Yesterday, you go back and you watch that opening drive, that pocket is muddy. It's dirty. There are guys at his feet. He's getting hit, and he hangs in there and delivers multiple ball after multiple ball on target, variety of routes. I mean, the first throw of the game, that deep crosser to Josh Downs. Then he has the out to Downs. Nick Bonita hits him. I think that was actually flagged for a penalty there. He rolls to his left, finds Michael Pittman Jr. Like, those are some of the Jones question guys where we've been asked multiple times this morning, would you give Daniel Jones a contract extension? The fact that people are asking that on September 15th, if you would have told me that a month ago, I would have been like, are these Daniel Jones family members? Like, who are these people thinking that those questions are, like, acceptable 2 weeks into the season? And yet, I sit here and be like, I totally get why people are asking them. And to me, when Jones makes more plays like he did yesterday, again, some of the downfield stuff, some of the stuff with people in his face, not necessarily the cleanest pocket, a legit defense like Denver, and he looks like that, that's when we get those questions, I start to think to myself, damn, maybe the Colts do have a little bit more of a decision on their hands than I certainly thought they would a couple weeks ago. Got a long way to go, but through 2 weeks, he's been absolutely outstanding.
So as we move along now, look at the next month of play. At Tennessee, here against the Rams, at the Raiders.
I think it's at
and
the
then
Rams,
Cardinals.
right?
Is it at the Rams?
At Rams,
Okay.
and then we're home against the Raiders.
That's how you feel about those 4 weeks right now, based on the 2 weeks we've seen.
We should be favored in all of them, right, besides the Rams?
I would think so.
Yeah, for sure.
I would think so. If that holds true, you looking at a 5-1 team after 6 games?
I'm not going there because football's weird. But
Colts are currently
I'm
3.5
worried
point
about
favorites.
this week.
yeah, I can't go that far.
Colts are currently 3.5 point favorites against the Titans this week.
There has never been a truer statement than James Boyd saying football is weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is. There's nothing like the NFL. Mark, I saw your tweet yesterday, and we were at the game, so we were just kind of consumed in Colts world there. But you mentioned like Giants, Cowboys.
Oh my God!
Right up there with game of the year, and we just had Bills, Ravens last week. So think about that. 2 weeks into the season, we've had 2 just epic games. And I mean, to me, yesterday, Colts, Broncos, it's very rare.
That's up there too.
Right. It's very rare. And James, this might have been the first time, I don't know. I can't recall many times, unfortunately for me, as a Notre Dame fan. I happened to be at the Bush Push game, so that was one of those games. How many times do you see the opposing team actually celebrate the win and they don't win the game? Like, Denver got that for 5 seconds yesterday. Their sideline pours onto the field.
Dude, there were
They're
players
going
on their
nuts.
team taunting the Colts fans.
Right.
The Kevin Harlan call was, the Broncos are going to win.
Yeah,
the Broncos are going to win.
To, like, have that moment and then the reverse of it actually happen, football is the weirdest thing in the world, and it's why we love it. And the NFL delivers every single week with those moments.
That's why I was telling my boy Spencer Schrader, look, I know you believe in God. I believe in God too. However, that man wears a different jersey every Sunday. And sometimes on one Sunday,
Brady
it's a different
Quinn's
jersey.
sister in the bowl game when she was dating AJ
Exactly.
Hawk.
I'm assuming he has just earmuffs up on a cloud. He's like, I can't handle all these sports prayers on these Sundays. Leave me alone.
He definitely ain't
Should we
hearing no
call
beer
God
sales right
Drake?
now, Mark.
It's the Sabbath. He's taking it off.
God is Drake. He just sits front row of whoever happens to be winning there. But in all, it's just, and that's why some people are probably thinking, hey, you're like nitpicking Shane Steichen a little bit too much. The NFL is filled with so much parity that what Shane Steichen did at the end of the game yesterday could have easily been the difference between 1-1 and 2-0. And I mean, you say that for coaches all around the league. That's why you get graded harder in these into game, 3rd down, 2-minute, red zone situations, because the difference between 3 points and 4 points and, obviously 7 and 0, it just no professional sports league, I think, has an impact more in a close parity-filled level than the NFL does week in and week out.
All right, let's check it down, Mark. The Colts win it 29-28 over the Denver Broncos. Spencer Schrader, the game-winning 45-yard field goal with no time remaining on the clock. He was 5 for 5 from field goal range yesterday. Daniel Jones, 316 yards passing. He was 23 of 34, a touchdown. Also had a touchdown run. Jonathan Taylor, 25 carries, 165 yards. Also caught 2 passes, one of them resulting in a touchdown. And now it's on to divisional play, James Boyd, next week against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, you have a great opportunity to improve to 3-0, 1-0 in the division against a lowly Titans team that is clearly struggling and not all that surprising considering they had the number 1 pick last year. And usually when that is the case, you're not going to just flip, your fortunes in one season.
All right, rest of the AFC South yesterday saw the Cincinnati Bengals defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-27, but at what cost, KB, for the Bengals, who lose Joe Burrow for a while now?
Yeah, Adam Schefter reported earlier today it will be surgery for Joe Burrow and that turf toe. He will be out a minimum of 3 months. So let's just play this out. Let's say the Chargers win tonight. Let's say they beat the Raiders. Your undefeated teams through 3 weeks in the AFC. Bills, Chargers, Colts, and now a Bengals team that will have Jake Browning quarterbacking them for the foreseeable future.
All right. Also,
have you seen that Bengals schedule, by the way?
Yeah.
I mean, they're 2-0, but oh my God. They've got at Vikings, at Broncos, home against Lions, home against at the Packers, home against the Steelers, and then they still play the Ravens, Bills, Ravens at some point.
Yeah, it's the double dip of the AFC North, NFC North.
Mm-hmm.
This year for that schedule.
Brutal.
Although, are we worried about the Vikings right now? They're looking rough.
I think you're going to get a mixed bag with J.J. McCarthy for technically his rookie season. So they look fine against the Bears, big surprise, and they look not good against the Falcons. So I think he's still trying to figure things out. But yeah, that defense for the Vikings is no joke. I don't know what you're going to get in the offense.
All right, other AFC scores. The Rams beat the Titans 33-19. Later tonight, the Texans will take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. That one's on ABC at 7. And the game of the week yesterday, the Kansas City Chiefs losing at home in a rematch of the Super Bowl to the Philadelphia Eagles 20-17. And honestly, game could have gone the other way if Travis Kelce brings in a pass at the Philadelphia 2. Instead, it bounces off his hands, goes into the hands of a defensive back for the Eagles. That takes a touchdown away from the Colts, and they end up winning by 3.
I think we're also getting
away
close
from
to
the Chiefs, but yeah.
Chiefs, yeah. Thank you.
I do think that at some point, this is kind of, again, football is weird. They had won so many one-score games in a row that I feel like you're finally kind of breaking even again, whereas those bounces just aren't going your way.
I also think we're getting close to the tush push being banned for real. Because did you see the couple of times when the Eagles' offensive line is blatantly false starting and the refs aren't calling it? And even Dean Blandino of the Fox booth. So, I'm done calling the tush push because it's such a hard game a hard play to officiate. But there are blatantly, you can see 2 offensive linemen for the Eagles false starting multiple times, and that's how they're getting the go-ahead.
I tell you what, the Colts and her enjoying some QB sneaks. Maybe I think Shane Steichen would not be a fan of banning that play, Mark.
In playoff basketball, the Dream defeat the Fever 80-68 yesterday. The Fever down 1-0 now in that best of 3. Kelsey Mitchell led the way with 27 points. They will play Game 2, JB, tomorrow night at the Fieldhouse. You will be in attendance?
Yeah, I couldn't miss this opportunity just because this is rare air for the Fever. First home playoff game in 9 years. This is a game to keep your season alive, and so I expect it to be rocking over at Gamebridge here tomorrow.
Quick look ahead to college football next week. Notre Dame hosts Purdue. Kevin Bowen, chance to get on the board here.
So they're a 27.5-point favorite.
Got to
They're
come
also
up with a win.
24th ranked out of in the top 20. How are they still ranked? They haven't won a game. How's that happen?
Part of me does think that's a bit.
Is it because it's just the opponents you had?
Yeah,
and also you lost by a combined 4 points?
Right. I get that, but there is part of me. It's like, hey, through 2 weeks, you probably should win a game to be ranked.
And the marquee game next week, Illinois, ranked number 9, playing at number 19, Indiana, and the Hoosiers are favorites right now?
No. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
they are. Yeah, 4.5-point favorites. James is going to talk that talk all week long, and if his team loses, you will not see him for next week.
Yeah. Monday I might have to call in sick. We'll see what happens. But no, I'm going to catch the game with Mate, an IU alum. When we travel down to Nashville, we're going to catch the game at a bar down there, and some others will be there as well. So I'm going to talk my trash. You know how I do.
All right. One other note in golf yesterday, Scotty Scheffler wins a golf tournament, the last one before the Ryder Cup, Kevin Bowen. That's his 6th win of the year.
Man, I'll tell you what, Jeff, you're now on my good side. And the more golf we talk and the less we talk about Notre Dame football, the better for me. So, yes, any other golf that we should hit as well? Any other sports?
Just pointing out we got a big Ryder Cup coming up.
Are the X Games starting anytime soon?
Thought maybe you'd want to spend some time on the Ryder Cup for a second.
Giving
you some moments
a full
there.
Week away, right?
Yeah.
Not this week, right?
No, just Scotty Scheffler coming up with another season for the ages. Not a lot of guys won 6 times in the same season.
Oh, someone say he's Greg Maddux with a fastball. That's a pretty good compliment for our non-golf fans out there.
It works. All right, coming up in a minute, a conversation with Kevin Harlan, who called the Colts-Broncos game yesterday. Give us his perspective on everything that went down. It's coming up next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
clearly the performance is showing what they had been hoping for. They get a guy who, even in New York, when they were struggling there, was highly respected in the locker room. And then he goes to Minnesota, and he kind of goes – it's like he got a PhD class in quarterbacking and offense toward the end of last season. Remember, he asked for his release for the Giants. He goes to the Vikings. He's under Kevin O'Connell, one of the brilliant offensive minds in pro football, and is there and is in a new environment, which was the perfect thing for him, which sets him up for this year. I don't know that there's been a lot of question on his commitment. I don't know if there's been a lot of question on his arm. I just, for whatever reason, it did not work in New York, and then he had a red-hot quarterback in Sam Darnold in Minnesota. And so this is the perfect opportunity at the right time with the right parts around him. You got a couple new starters on your offensive line, and we know that. And the quarterback has come in, clearly unified the offense, and been assisted with some great individual performances around him. But I think he's as advertised. He was number one on their list, as we all know. And they just feel like they've gotten a guy who's got a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And when you got something like that to prove, and the motivation is there, and he's incredibly – my take is he's an incredibly motivated kid. That's a pretty good formula for what you're seeing after the first two games.
Kevin, I can remember years ago when you had the no regard for human life call back when LeBron James was in Cleveland. And I don't know if it was regard for human life yesterday with the end of that game, but maybe did you get any reaction perhaps just from the crowd or others when you were leaving the stadium, just to kind of get a feel for what that win felt like, considering, again, they haven't been 2-0 since 2009, and also the fashion in which they are now 2-0?
Well, it's happened twice, and both of these games have been at home, right? They've won two games, and we don't know how good Miami is. It looks like they're going to have a struggling season. Denver is a good team. In fact, Denver's a very good team. And they got a young quarterback who is learning literally every snap, but boy, does he look good. And they've got a terrific defense. The other thing I was going to say about the Colts and how they won yesterday against a good offense is that they didn't have the number one cornerback and they didn't have their best pass rusher. If you want to put Latu in that category, and he graded very high last week, and he's gaining respect around the league and emerging, and he's an important player for that defense. So they had two starters that did not play, and yet they put in that kind of performance, and they found the people around them to plug in. I think there's optimism. We're so early. You don't even look at the offensive or defensive ratings or many of the statistics. You can begin to put some of that puzzle together, but there's still so much further to go, and injuries are going to take a hold, and we saw two yesterday, and they survived that. Schedule always gets tougher as you go along, but clearly they're making waves, and you're 2-0. And there are not many teams this morning that are waking up 2-0. So that's a pretty good sign. I'm on my way to Houston right now for tonight. And Houston, they need a win in this division or they're going to be 0-2. And tonight they play Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay had a terrific game last week with a win in Atlanta, I believe, and they got a red-hot quarterback. So, we're 2 weeks in, two more games tonight, so much football to be played. But, hey, you know what? You learn to enjoy these times as much as you can, because there clearly will be, for all teams, there are going to be rough times ahead. But so far, everything they've worked on in the offseason, in the OTAs, and in training camp, it is clearly paying off, and this is a different team. It feels like a different team.
Kevin will into this, and as you said, you're off to Houston. We can't thank you enough for making time for us here on this Monday morning. It kind of struck me last week, and seeing that you were on the call, it had probably been a little while since you had done a Colts game, and obviously you've done some pretty marquee basketball games in this market. It was an incredible playoff run for the Pacers this past spring, and it kind of got me thinking on the Kevin Harlan memory scale. Do you have a favorite moment, whether it's calling a Colts game, whether it's calling a Pacer game, but right here in our state, is there anything that stands out to you? I know I'm asking you to kind of rack the brain a little bit early on this Monday morning, but anything really stand out to you from a sport call standpoint in the state?
Well, I would tell you that back in 1991, I had my first NFL network broadcast. I had done the Chiefs and was doing the Chiefs on radio in Kansas City. I began with them in 85, but in 91, I did my first network NFL TV broadcast here at the Old Dome with NBC, and it was with Joe Namath. And that was against the New England Patriots here. And I believe New England won that game. I think was it Don McPherson? What was that coach's name? Bill McPherson? I forget the coach. He had just taken over after a long college run with the New England Patriots, and he was coming here. I even forget who the Colts coach was at that time, or who was playing. But my first game was Game 1, 1991 against New England here for NBC with Joe Namath. And in addition to closing out our TNT run here with the Pacers and Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we came here for the bubble in the NCAA tournament, and so we were here for a couple of weeks, and that was an interesting stay. And my partner was Reggie Miller at TNT, who played for the Pacers for 18 years. So yeah, I guess that's a little early. It took me a while to get there, but I guess I have had some pretty good memories here.
You're a Hoosier. Let's face it.
I'm a Hoosier. I'm a Hoosier. Yep, you got it.
Have a great, safe flight. We look forward to hearing the call tonight. Thanks for joining us this morning, and we will definitely run into you again soon.
I hope so, guys. Thanks. I look forward to coming back here for another Colts game. Take care.
The one, the only Kevin Harlan taking time out early this morning to jump on and tape an interview with us. Always so giving of his time and terrific to listen to on any call that he ever does. Coming up next, we'll put it all in perspective as the Colts emerge from the weekend 2-0. We'll talk about what's ahead tonight. It's all straight ahead. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Wrap it up a Victory Monday. Always a good thing as the Colts improved to 2-0 on the year. First time they've been 2-0, as we've been talking about, since 2009. And after every game, Mark, if people go to the post that we make on 107.5 The Fan, the morning show, you can give us your headlines for how it all went down. And I don't know about you guys, but Billy Slick Willie right now has the leader in the clubhouse for me. Colts beat Broncos with leverage. That was good.
That's pretty good.
That was good. I like that one. Any UC that you liked a lot, Mark?
Yeah, I had quite a few. There were some funny ones just because people were obviously loving the win, but also confused about it. Shrader wins game with mulligan, says Eric Newell. Brylan says Steichen bailed out by Zebras. Brylan also had another one that was funny. He said doink, shank, penalty, game winner. You guys,
I like the Eric one. It's almost like, Mark, you're in one of those golf outings with mulligans, and like you don't get to use it, but you have the good person in the group, and you let them use your mulligan. You're like, hey, we really need you to go and hit this shot right now. That's what Spencer Schrader did there. Scotty, hate them, then love refs. We should have done a ref poll at halftime and then a ref poll at the end of the game.
Man, I'm saying the one I came up with was God wore a Colts jersey. That's the only way I can explain that.
And right now, Jeff, this one could be pretty pricey at the end of the day, but Daniel Jones equals right call. Hard to argue that 2 weeks in.
So far, so good.
And then Noah and Kevin Bowen fan, which that's a curious one. They both were on the same wavelength. Kevin Bowen fan said Spencer M.F. and Schrader, and then Noah said, what the F was that? Probably in response to Steichen's play calling on that final drive.
Spencer M.F. Okay, I'm trying to count words. Is that 5 or less still?
Yeah,
I
that's 4.
was going to say, I don't think Spencer's going to be saying those words anytime soon. He's a nice Christian man.
No.
Breland had it nice and succinct. Doink, shank, penalty, game winner.
Yeah, he just read that one.
Yeah, that's what I like. I just like little emphasis on it there. I love that. So it's all good. Mine would just be 2-0.
You need 5 letters or 5.
If I'm the editor, I'm saying you need to go back to the
2
drawing
and
board.
That's 3. We need 2 more words there, Jeff.
How about 2 and oh my or something?
I never get out of here unscathed.
Yesterday was way too much of a roller coaster just to describe it as 2-0. Yesterday was one of the wilder ones I've seen. I mean, the highs and lows of yesterday, just incredible.
That's why you love sports, right?
I thought yesterday was one of the more entertaining games I've seen at Lucas Oil Stadium in a long, long time. I thought it was a lively atmosphere. I thought the whiteout looked good. Certainly had your Denver faithful in the building. They're always a fan base that travels pretty well. But I thought that was a great football game, entertaining as hell, good atmosphere. I don't know, 4 o'clock, maybe people get a little bit more lubed up throughout the day, and it was a fun one.
If Jonathan Taylor would have broke that run all the way to the end zone, I mean, I thought the roof was going to come off when he broke that one long.
Yeah, you know what? I might have to troll my boy this week when I see him. I'm like, I thought you were talking to us, Kevin, all about the speed and the miles per hour. I'm like, JT, I'm not used to you getting hawked, man. You got to step on the
did
gas.
have quite the angle on him.
I ain't trying to hear that.
Speaking
JT,
of
you
miles
got to
per
get
hour.
to the pylon, my boy.
I thought I saw he ran the fastest of any player in the NFL over the last few years.
I'm definitely joking there. I mean, the guy was incredible yesterday.
On the catch and run for the touchdown.
I mean, he had over 200 yards of offense. He was balling.
It was one of the
yesterday.
biggest production games of Taylor's career.
Yes.
Receiving being a big part of that. He had the 43-yard catch there. And again, right now, the Colts are playing Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren a ton. Probably something we can get into as the week moves along.
Kevin Harlan said it best yesterday on the broadcast after that long catch and run. He is electric. I guess it was just the run, but electric. Just is electric. So a lot of fun there. Thanks for joining us this morning. It'll, of course, be Jake Query coming your way from noon to 3 today. JMV takes over from 3 to 6, and the Fever are off today. They will be back at home tomorrow night at the Fieldhouse, 7:15 airtime, the pregame here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan as they take on the Atlanta Dream in Game 2 of a 3-game series, a must-win in the WNBA playoffs. See if the most resilient team in the league can keep being resilient. Have yourselves a great Monday. We'll talk to you soon for all of us.